What is up, everybody? I am Bongmaster Rob. We are going live on a what is this? A Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, almost because today it's 80 degrees here today. How are you doing, my man? I've
Yo,
got the pleasure to welcome Frost Rolling Papers to the Dank Dungeon. How in the world have you been?
yo, I'm doing great, man. Yo, thank you, Rob. Yo, since meeting you on the X app, it's been great, man. So
Man,
thank you for
some
being
of the
here.
stuff, some of the stuff you share out on Instagram is just so badass. I love the videography you guys do. Were you down there during Carnival, or where were you at with all those
Oh,
pictures that were taken? If you don't mind, I'm going to
Carnival.
share that as we go.
Yeah, Trinidad Carnival is culture, right? It's part of Trinidad. It's part of their revolution. It was something they used against slave masters to say, hey, we're rebelling to have fun, to do what we got to do, but we're back to work on Monday. You
Right.
know what I mean? So it was like a revolutionary thing. It was like it's like the version of Jamaican and Rastafarianism. It's like in that sense, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
For all you
So
guys joining
so
us right now, here's the Instagram page for Frost Rolling Papers. I'm going to play a couple of the videos when I get down here. I think you've still got some on here, don't you? Do you have any on your Instagram from Carnival right now? We'll go ahead and play one as you're talking if you'd like.
well, we haven't posted much because we're still getting more data and footage from the carnival itself to put everything together because we're sold in Trinidad. You know what I mean? We're
Are you
sold
now?
in Trinidad. Yes, we're part of the
Congratulations.
whole. Thank you, Mo. We're part of the whole secular of weed smoking in Trinidad because Trinidad has it's like a melting pot of different cultures. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
different ethnic groups. So it's like everybody in one. So you'll meet the Rastafarians, you'll meet the Muslims, you'll meet Christians, you'll meet even Jews. You know what I mean? You'll meet everybody that lives in Trinidad and Tobago. So the joy
Wow.
about it is that Carnival brings all ethnic and race together. So everybody just Trinidad and Tobagans. You know what I mean? It's just one people, and then the whole world comes in. We had the
That's
pleasure of being a
awesome.
part of Trinidad Carnival for the past 2 years now. It has become a vacation spot in a sense where we don't really go there to promote the business. We go there just to enjoy the culture, enjoy the people, and then the product just does work for itself. You know, the product just do
Oh,
everything for itself.
absolutely. That's what
So
drew me to you guys. I'm not a paper smoker, blunt smoker per
yeah,
se, as much as I do with
yeah.
bongs, but there's times that you need a break and you need to go to something different. And of course, I can't remember if it was X or if it was on Instagram that I found you first, but some of this shit here, man, that you guys have come up with for your products, I love the front phrase. I love you. Scratch that off. No, I love
No,
weed.
no, no.
And
I just love weed, man.
that is exactly where I have just felt forever now, and it's that shirt and that hoodie, man, I'm going to have one, I guarantee it.
No,
I
definitely. No, we'll be sending you some products very, very soon. So definitely,
I
you definitely have one of these shirts.
I cannot wait to represent you guys. This is awesome. I can't wait
Thank you, man.
because I'm going to Michigan for 420, and we're gonna be up there for 3 days. There is over 30 different dispensaries in this one, like, green mile, they call it. So we're gonna
Yeah.
try and hit every one of those. I'm gonna be a part of what they're calling the dream team of all of us through Stoner Magazine.
Okay.
So I'm going to do everything I can to support you and what you've got going on so I can share this out to those people when I'm there. If they're looking for a new type of paper to smoke out of, if they're looking, do you guys make cones too, or is it just strictly rolling
Well,
papers?
first before I even talk about the products, let's talk about what Flash Rolling Papers is about. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's talk from the scratch. Flash Rolling Papers has been around ever since we call it Reefer. You know what I mean? We've been around since structure. You know,
Okay.
according to if you check the timeline, Fast Rolling Papers has been there. The furthest timeline I can go to, according based on my grandfather's information, was that um, we kind of became more prolific in the Western region during the 1913s. You know, but it was
Really?
mostly but it was mostly
Wow.
through United States, right? It was a thing of relaxation because you did had other drugs and stuff, but weed wasn't illegal then. You know what I mean? It was just like a product, a part of the naturistic or holistic, um, you know what I mean, version of everything. You could use weed to cure your headache. You could use it to cure illness. You could use it to make your jeans just in case. You know what I mean? A product obviously used to make your clothes. So
Right.
weed was structured as part of society during that time, but it was perfectly known through Americans. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And the joy about weed at one point in time, when it was called reefer, there was no division of people per se. It was in that little bit of industrial era, like it crossed over the industrial era. So during that little pocket, when there was a prohibition against alcohol, weed brought everybody together. You know what I mean? So yes. So we were there in that reefer generation because there was no alcohol. So everybody had to, you know what I mean, hold the jazz music. So you could tell by jazz music in America at that time who was smoking indica or sativa. You could tell it through the music. Yeah, the laid back blues, those were sunken in cultures indica. You know what I mean?
Wow, I never made that connection like that. It does make a lot more sense now when you think about it.
Yeah, that was the sunken coach indica right there. The layback chill. Yo, I got the blues. Yo, my wife is leaving me, but I don't care. I got the blues. You know what I mean? It was that kind of energy. And then when you hear the pop, that was it. And then when you hear the pop, 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 that was the sativa. You know what I mean? That was when everybody nutrients are just going off the wall. You know what I mean? That was sativa. That was the wake up. That was the get up. So the structure, so the structure of cannabis, if you check the background of things, it made sense then. At that time,
sorry. Around here, the stigma of weed is still around, even though it is medically legal in my state. It's still like they would rather push you to go drink in a bar or take whatever over-the-counter medicine they suggest or whatever the certain types of doctors will prescribe to you. And I was always stuck in that way, being in pain, being, having a mental illness or having anything like that. I did not know about weed. I've only been smoking now for a little more than 6 years consistently. It was recommended by my doctor. She's like, you're on a lot of pain medication. Have you ever thought about going to weed? And I said, my goodness, my everybody in my family is in law enforcement. So if I'm down here by myself in this corner of my little county smoking by myself, it really it's really hard. So I decided to take my shit on the road like you've done and get out there and find people that are your family, the people you can hang out with, because I can't around here. I maybe have smoked with 2 people in this area, and there's roughly 1,000 people within, say, a 20-mile radius of me. That's the kind of small area I live in. But now that I've found the internet,
your whole family
going to be gone.
He's going well. The stigma. It's aggressive. The stigma is. I like the stigma because the stigma creates family. You'll know who's with you, I know who's not with you.
Good point.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so I do like the stigma. I mean, just like as I said, but before we get to this, let's go back to real to the story. So Fast Rolling Paper has been around. Still, Fast Rolling Paper has been around since then. It's just that it was in a different form, different person type of vibe. So because I'll express to you what fast rolling means at the end of this little small story. So if you check the timeline and stamps, fast rolling was there during the reefer generation. That was the time when, as I say, all ethnic groups came together. You know what I mean? So we didn't care about what race you were from, who was your dad, who was your mom. You know what I mean? It was just, we can get the weed from these guys. We can get it from these guys. We can get it from these guys. And everybody were friends. Then they lifted prohibition, and then the industrial timeline came in. And then all of a sudden you heard that weed was the worst thing ever created. That's when the stigma came back into play right away after prohibition was lifted. All of a sudden, you hear that, this is the worst thing ever. Your kids are gonna go blind.
I've actually heard that kind of stuff. I have heard that. You're gonna go blind.
Yeah, it was a verbatim. It was a fucking script. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
And they beat in our heads in school too.
They
the most known one. Stay away from it.
Stay away from the green. So right there is when the stigma script kicked in. Was after when they left prohibition. So during that time, fast rolling papers were still there. We were still in the, how can I put it, in the pockets, because we had to go underground the moment alcohol came back into play. So I don't know if you noticed that. Yeah. So in the 30s, 40s, weed went silent. It was like a who's who. So that's you know that I don't know if well you say you've been smoking for 6 years, so I don't know if you ever had the opportunity of meeting that underground type buying of marijuana back in the day.
That's how I first started with it because I don't make a lot of money and dispensary weed here in Ohio is expensive. So when I first started doing it, I met a group of people that I only trust one person outside of the
See,
dispensary now. Yeah.
you see what
He is,
you see.
yep,
Thank you. I like the word that
yep,
you use, trust.
yep,
So
yep.
weed became a trusting during that
Yes.
era, because it went underground. You know what I mean? So the dealer had to trust the buyer had to trust the dealer.
Right.
You know what I mean? The only thing we couldn't prevent was if the weed was good or not.
And a lot of times though, your
yeah,
dealer would go, let me know. If it's not good,
yeah,
I got something else,
let me know if I can get
yeah,
better.
right.
Correct,
And you
right. The
can't get
dealer
that
would.
with a doctor.
No, you couldn't. You
Right.
see, the dealer was better than the doctor at that time, but it was underground.
Absolutely.
So, right. So during that time, Beef Fraction People was there in pockets. You know what I mean? Be a part of the whole culture and everything. So boom, after that, as I say, so we're moving on into World War II. If you notice, World War, you know what I mean? Finished World War I structure, alcohol is back. World War II. World War II was over. I don't know if nobody ever mentioned this. You can Google it. But marijuana was prescribed to soldiers during World War II for
Really?
paranoia. Yeah, for paranoia, for ailments, for pain, all that. But it wasn't
I actually
publicized.
did not know that.
It wasn't publicized. It was still underground. You know what I mean? It was the same thing like what your doctor said. Hey, you want to try? You
Right.
need to try this because this might, you know what I mean, off you, right? So after that, the World War II type of vibe, weed made a comeback through the hippies.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50s, 60s now. We're in the 50s, 60s now. Weed made a comeback. So when weed made a comeback, weed made a comeback with middle class now. It became the rebellious strain, became the rebellious green. So weed was part of something now. Do you know what I mean? It was part of world peace, coming together. You know what I mean? Yo, we don't need this. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when we came with that, it came with atonement. It came with the quote unquote woke word we use nowadays. Right. You know what I mean? It came with people stop dressing in the suits. It came with people start wondering what the color of their hair was. It came with weed at that time was walking away from the structure of the industrial structure. You know what I mean? Yeah, gotcha. But at the same time, it was giving birth to the fucking new world. I don't know if you noticed. The guys who smoke weed in the 60s are the guys who run the world today.
I was going to say that because I'm like, even the person that I'm dealing with now with Jerry, he's from Stoner Magazine. He's at least 20 years older than me. He was back in that era and he was telling me some stories about the same thing. You could really see a change in that now because it's like the boomers of the late end that had that during World War II. A lot of the older people have promoted it to me. People that I knew like back before I ever started smoking it, they would recommend, hey, have you ever tried this? Like, no, I can't, of course, because it's illegal. Because I was always afraid of ruining my family's like image of everything.
Your name, your structure, everything that worked for.
Yeah. You don't want anybody out there to know what you're doing. The stigma is bad. Yeah. But then when I realized it, I would have already been dead if I would not have found weed. See? And that was where this whole
the savior, right? The savior. Yeah, so
exactly.
If you check any story of anyone who has been connected to the plant or to weed or cannabis, what do you want to call it, it's always been a savior type story. It's never was, yo, I'm down in the ditch and this is what kept me down. It's never that story. It's always a savior.
And it's hard that people don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear the fact that weed helped. Every time I've tried to tell family members, friends, anything, I'm like, okay, honestly, man, I've got over 140 pieces of metal in my body. I've had so many surgeries. I've had like 4 in a 3-month span here these past 5 months. And I can push mow my yard after smoking weed. I was on last time this happened, I was in a wheelchair to a walker to a cane to finally being able to walk. And that was all done on pain medication. After these surgeries, this is all I'm on.
That's all you want.
I've worked on 2 cars since I've had my last, and I had a back surgery, a collarbone surgery, and a replacement pump in my stomach surgery. So they were all major surgeries, and I'm still able to go out and do things.
Shit, I gotta get you to do our ads, man. We gotta sign you. We gotta sign you to do our ads.
I'm all about it, and that's what the whole message that Dank Dungeon Chronicles to me is. I want to find people who are just like me, and they want to get that word out. And I am so glad I came across you. And we've only been live for 14 minutes, and you have taught me more then I've learned this whole 6 years that I've been trying to learn more and more about this.
Well, that's the joy about weed. Is on the structure of doctorates and law. We're always
Right.
learning. We're always evolving. It's never a construct. It never stays in one place. You know what I mean? So
Man,
so
I'm
so
serious. I did not
yeah,
know that about the stuff
yeah.
through World War II, and I'm a
Yeah.
World War II buff. I loved listening
No,
and
no,
watching.
I'm a war historian.
Wow.
I mean, I was supposed to be a politician growing up back in Jamaica. So
Really?
we have to study wars, right? And armies and stuff. So I'm all in. When it come on to numbers, I'm
Yeah.
all in. You know what I mean? Numbers and shoelaces are the only thing that's real. Remember that.
You definitely have a good speaking voice. You really like talk with conviction, and that's what I like about people, because a lot of people still just want to whisper this. So I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to the 58 people watching us right now. Please share this out to all the networks you're on. Make sure everybody knows we've got Frost Rolling Papers in here, and we're going to show everything and talk as much as we can with him and learn more, because I know you guys are learning more too. Back
Right.
to you again. I
Yes.
really don't want to get off this story. This is
No,
some really cool stuff,
this is
man.
great stuff, right? So yeah, so as I say, watch the timeline. So we went underground in the 1940s with after the war, in the industrial complex, and then as I say, what you said about the doctor was recommended. It was a hush hush type thing. So there's a lot of people who, you mentioned, from that age, did have weed. You know what I mean? As a selective, as something outside of just the doctor's medication. You know what I mean? And
Before
it's
you
still
finish, can I ask one question? We have a
sure.
question here in the chat that says,
Sure.
where can they pick up your rolling papers at? Are they in brick and
Um,
mortar store places or just online right
yeah,
now?
no. Well, for now, we're sold all over where we're at in Canada and Alberta. We're like in over 40 stores. You can get us also online at FrostRollingPapers.com. You know what I mean? We sell our rolling papers on our website as well.
Okay. And
So
Aquarius, I'll be sure that I share out all their information on my TikTok, my Twitter in just a little bit. It's trolling across the top right now too. You
correct.
can
You can
click
definitely go there and order Frost Rolling Papers. We have 3 different types. We'll talk about the 3 different types, but let me just we
Yeah, I just want to get that in
we
there.
gotta
Yeah,
flow with the story
go
to
right
get
ahead, please.
for
I just
clarity
didn't
for
want
everybody that's
the
watching.
question to go by the wayside.
Not a problem. So yeah,
Thank you, sir.
so weed, as I said, went in the 40s underground. Help a lot of soldiers, help a lot of people during that time. Moving to the 60s now, these are the kids of the industrial age. So the kids of the industrial age were the middle class. That was the first time we knew about what middle class was during the 60s. So these kids had the freedom to just be free to go to places, do things. They saw what the war did to their family. They saw what the war did to the world at that time. And they were saying, hey, we want peace, we want love. And weed was part of that. But weed became connected to something. Just like back in the day, during that time, gold was attached to the dollar, right? That's before Nixon, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So weed became a concurrent, something that's actually viable, equity, if you want to put that term. You know what I mean? The closest thing to weed was that time was LSD, right? LSD is a natural effect. It also comes through dabs, which is a part of weed. If you notice, it's you know what I mean? It's components of weed, right?
Yep.
Right. So during that time, so many things came out from weed during that time in the 60s. Or a credit score came out during that time. So we might have to blame weed on that shit. But
Man, that's crazy. Because you're right though.
But
Wow, you
dude,
connect the dots, man. You connect the dots. Don't do that. You're gonna make my brain explode.
No, I'm just saying the new world was built off weed.
Absolutely.
During the
really
new
looked at
world
it
we
that
lived in, I grew up in, because I'm 47. So
I'm 45. Yeah.
Right. So the new world, the new world was built on weed. It's just that it could not be told. You know what I mean? It just couldn't be told because the stigma the script was already written when prohibition, was lifted. Right?
Yeah, and they always try to make it criminal with that.
No, but you have to go to that route.
Right.
Before, all right, that's what I'm saying. Whoever created the structure of the new world, they were like, yo, you cannot let the public enjoy this good shit. You gotta send people to jail.
Fuck, I love what you just put down.
They're like,
the simplest way to do it. Right there. Yeah, fuck it. Let's just go.
Right there. They were like, no.
Oh, I love that.
No, you guys gonna go to jail. I'm gonna keep smoking it, but you guys gonna go to jail for this shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So you had to create division. That's how the whole jail thing came in, is to create division amongst races, amongst people. Because before during the 60s, nobody got arrested for marijuana. They got arrested for obstructing the public, or creating a nuisance. But they were never arrested for weed. Right up until these guys are like, we're gonna arrest Rob if we catch him on the fucking corner. You know what I mean?
I'm about to smoke again. You got my head spinning, because
we're gonna shut down Crash Rolling Papers because he's black, so we're gonna fuck him up. You know what I mean? So that's where the structure of divide and conquer actually kicked in, during that time. So as I say, it was mostly middle class kids pushing the product because the product was underground. So all of the middle class kids are like, yo, fuck you, fuck the cops, you know what I mean? Fuck everybody, fuck society, and smoking their weed.
Absolutely.
Then during that time, the reason why I use America, because America is so prolific to this whole conversation of weed, right?
Yes.
Because everybody else was enjoying weed during this time, though. Afghanistan enjoying weed, the Mexicans are enjoying weed. BC, Canada enjoying weed. Seattle used to grow some of the best weed in the world. A lot of people don't know this, and that was during that time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So most of the weed was coming from Seattle, British Columbia in Canada, and Mexico. Mexico was like weed heavy. Because then it wasn't California. All of it was in California. You know what I mean? Part of it was still Mexico. So that's how the weed could have traveled over so easily into America, right? Nobody was really doing a hard drugs was always there, but nobody was really doing it. You know what I mean? It was more of a secular, from a doctorate point of view, which was LSD, dabs, all the kind of jazz, but there was never really hard drugs. So you had the JFK, they were weed smokers, all of them. They were the ones actually making it kind of popular amongst that kind of society, that kind of group of people. JFK, they made it popular. They were known for weed smokers, all of them, right? Then, RIP to JFK, then LBJ came in, and LBJ was like, yeah, we might be, a part of the Democratic, but guess what? Yeah, we're going to shut down this whole drug thing, because our sons and daughters are smoking weed, and we don't need that. We need them to come and run the world. We don't need them to be chill and enjoying life and all that. We need them to come in. So LBJ drafted what he needs to draft up. Nixon came in and be like, yeah. They just came in.
When you said Nixon came in, the first thing I thought he would say, nah, fuck it, let him have it. I'm really surprised.
I thought Nixon would have come in and be like, yo, free the weed, you know what I mean?
I did too.
Free the perp, you know what I mean? Let the perp go, because that time was called purple. So free the perp, right? We thought Nixon would say, yo, free the perp, because Nixon was part of that kind of how can I put it? Yeah, everybody thought Nixon was part of their revolution to change things, you know what I mean? You're right, everybody thought. But Nixon came in like, yeah, fuck you, motherfuckers.
Patrick, you may be able to get Frost at your local head shop or something like that, because you're in Canada.
Yeah,
I'm not. He's over in Ontario, I believe.
Okay.
The guy that just popped, not Big A, but the other fellow just popped in chat. What's up, good Big A? Thanks for joining us. He said he'd have to get him some. You may be able to find them anywhere around there.
Yeah, well, I'm in Alberta, so I'll definitely we'll be sold in Ontario this year. And as I said, I'll speak upon that when we get there. But the story, I need to finish the story first so we can continue. So Nixon came in like, fuck it. Frost Rolling Paper was there when Nixon said fuck it. You know what I mean? But we were still there in terms of rolling papers, rolling weed, everybody enjoying life. You know what I mean? Everything is good. And then if you notice, the whole structure of America going through a little bit of a civil war at that time was because of the structure of war on drugs. The word war on drugs created a lot of what's the term? Created a lot of misinformation, disinformation. You know what I mean? And it put everybody into a panic. So picture our parents heard the president of the United States come and say, hey, this thing is killing everybody.
Yep.
What do you think your parents are gonna do at that time? All the communication they had with the world was a TV. You know what I mean? Maybe a radio, but the radio was selling the same thing. You know what I mean? They didn't have, this was like this timeline where I could talk to Rob and say, hey, Rob, you know, tell me if your president is bull driving. Let me know. You know, it wasn't that then. It was like a singular form of communication.
Right.
So anything they heard, they beat it on me and you. You know what I mean?
And I definitely did have it instilled.
Yeah, anything they heard from that singular communication, they beat it on me and you. They didn't have no alternative to know what's going on, right? So, fast rolling paper is there. All of a sudden, Mr. Reagan came in. Boom. Full on war on drugs. Like anybody I catch with a nug is getting 20 years. Anybody. We don't care what race you are.
Crazy.
We don't care what race you are. And that's the thing is they thought this was like of a racial structure. It wasn't. Anybody who got caught with weed was arrested. It wasn't much of yeah, I understand the racial construct.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah, I understand the racial.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. So everybody, anybody, no matter what color you are, you're going to jail. You know what I mean? Because Reagan was a zero guy on that thing, right? You know, as I said, we want to talk about the structure of politics because weed has nothing there. You know, I don't mix it. So during that time, this is how fast rolling papers got big now. During that time when the war on drugs with Reagan, we're in the 80s now, right? You can't get any weed from California anymore because all of a sudden we introduced something called Border Patrol. You know what I mean? Structure. That's when this whole thing came in, right? Yeah, and it all this came through weed. I don't know. Again, the new world was built off the back of weed. So the whole Border Patrol came in, all that. You know what I mean? It was because of weed. So Mexico, we can't get the weed from Mexico. Can't get the weed from BC. The farmers in Seattle are under surveillance. You know what I mean? Police surveillance. Yeah. They can't do anything anymore. Can't come from. During that time, there was this half white, half black dreadlock guy in the Caribbean in Jamaica. You know what I mean? Because his dad came from Scotland, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love that description, though. I mean, I do. I love it.
It's real. We're being honest, right? Come on. This half white, half black, you know what I mean? Dreadlock Jamaican guy, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And the joy about the reason why I go the half black, half Jamaican guy, because my grandfather from my dad's side was half black, half white, half Jamaican. So during that time, they were called mulattoes. It wasn't like this time around when you see a mixed baby, like, oh, he's so cute, she's so cute. No. At that time, that kid should die. That was, it was part of it wasn't accepted during that time. You know what I mean? 60s, 70s, having a mixed baby that time was abomination, right? It wasn't.
Well, at least in the States it was. I was kind of hoping at least abroad or somewhere.
No, in the Caribbean, same structure.
Really?
Come on. Yeah, same.
Yeah, right.
Same structure. It's either you're on that side or you're on this side, but coming together through love, we're like, fuck that. That's not love. You know what I mean? At that time, you know, right? So during that time, the Bob Marley, was becoming again. If you notice with the Weeds attached to what? Revolution. It's attached to moving forward. It's attached to creating peace. It's attached to all that kind of connectivity to move forward. You know what I mean? To find a resolve, a resolution, right? That was weed. So if you listen to Bob Marley's music, all of these things he speak upon. Resolution, you know what I mean? No war, peace, one love, chill. We don't need to hurt nobody. You know what I mean? Let's smoke weed and have girls type of vibe. That was his energy. So during that time, I don't know who came to Jamaica during that time, but they came and they say, oh shit, the Jamaicans got the weed. America need weed, right? Bob Marley's puffing something which is illegal in front of everybody's faces. This is illegal shit in the 80s. War against drugs, and Bob Marley's puffing the largest damn joint you ever seen in your life.
Right.
Right? And there's war against drugs. So everybody's looking at this guy like, no, we gotta hang with him. Because he doesn't give a fuck about the war against drugs or rules or regulations, right? So he's doing something different. So that's when the whole ideology of weed started moving from the Caribbean to the Americans. It was along with Bob Marley. During that time, my grandfather, this is the great part of the story now. My grandfather, now, as I say, is in the same age group as Bob. Then, during that time, my grandfather was a carpenter, a master carpenter. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
we're from a family of builders. You know what I mean? We kind
That's
of,
awesome.
yeah, we were black and white for a reason. So we're a family of builders. So my grandfather was part of the reconstruct of Jamaica at that time, because during that time with Bob Marley, guess what was going on during that time? The essence of the Cold War,
Yes, it was.
and Cuba and Jamaica got involved. You know what I mean? A lot of imposed, a lot of embargoes, a lot of things were happening to Jamaica at that time because of the premise at that time was saying, hey, he's with Cuba. You know what I mean? So the Americans were like, yo, shut it down. So during that time, though, a lot of things, a lot of hardship was going on, and a lot of investors who were American in Jamaica left Jamaica because of the whole Cold War type of situation. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of businesses was open, a lot of things were there for Jamaicans for the taking in terms of who had money could buy stuff. My grandfather then had 7 kids. He has 9 kids in total. So then he was like, all right, we need more money. I see an opportunity. There's 2 stories which is so great about my grandfather's stories to tell me that I remember so distinctively. There was this pilot that used to pick up stuff in the Caribbean and throw off the money. My grandfather got to meet him in a bar in Jamaica having beers. My grandfather had 2 cousins who knew where all the green product were. So moving the green product was easy. You know what I mean? That time they had the Volkswagen. You know the Volkswagen beach vans?
Yeah.
It was called a weed van for a reason.
How many bales could you get in one of those?
It was the first Amazon vans. Because
I fucking love that.
Because then the weed wasn't put in bags then.
Right.
It was chopped and put together and go. It wasn't down to these nugs that we were smoking. We used to get the damn tree root. You know what I mean? You buy weed then, you got the tree root with the weed. You know what I mean? Right. So
I remember that. I truly do.
Yes. So during that timeline, the weed wasn't bagged. It was just chopped, dried, and go. So my grandfather had a big Volkswagen van. You know what I mean? And him and his cousins, they were just doing their thing. They would meet where they need to be with the plane. You know what I mean? Double engine plane lift. Go come back with the money. During that time, the planes wouldn't land in Jamaica because they couldn't. So you had to throw the weed in, and the second pilot would throw the money out. You know where Making It Rain came from? Yeah, Making It Rain came from the Caribbean. Because sometimes when they throw the money out, the fucking wind would just burst and the money would just be all over everybody. Falling.
Wow.
So yeah, crazy times.
No shit.
Yeah, that's where Making It Rain came from actually from the Caribbean. Where the weed, where the money, when you throw it out, it's falling like rain. So you have to spend like 20, 30 minutes picking up fucking money before the cops show up. That time the plane's already done to go drop off in Miami or the closest point. So during that time,
real quick, please.
Yeah, sure.
If you don't mind. With all these people in the chat right now, guys, please share this out. This story is one to be heard. Please, we're streaming live on 3 different networks right now. We are on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. We've got over 125 people sitting here with us for the first 30 minutes, and I'd like to congratulate you on that, especially being in just early evening like this. I didn't want to take away from you, but thank you, Patrick and Cece and Nan and all you guys that are in the chat. Thank you for all your hard work as well, Kim. We'll get to some more stuff with the chat in a minute. I want to get back to your story.
Yeah,
please, guys, make sure you share it.
Yeah, so grandfather making money off weed, still a master carpenter. So he's doing his job by day, weed by night. So yeah, so now
hustling right there.
Hustling right there, yo, hustle. So we came into a little bit of money, right? As a family, and he started buying into what he likes. So my grandfather invested into bars, you know what I mean? Because the structure of Jamaica, after work, you don't really go home right away. You go to the bar, have a little bit of weed, have a bit of cigarette, have a drink. So we invested into bars, we invested into warehouses, all that kind of jazz, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So my dad came into the structure. My dad came into the structure, because as I watch the timeline, this is 70s, 80s with Bob Marley, right? Everything is cool and whatever. The 90s came in, but late 80s came in. Complete change. This time, weed is getting beat in the head in every angle. Like late 80s was the hard. We got to crush weed because it's getting too much now. It's becoming a competitor, right? Towards everything now. You know what I mean? It's part of social construct, right? In the 80s, it became part of social construct. So
Right.
between the late 80s now to 90s, I don't know if you noticed, things just switched because we went to a more color type situation, from a black and white to a more color type situation. And what came with color was Scarface the movie.
Right. Yes.
Scarface the movie changed a lot of things trajectory when it comes to weed, because all of a sudden weed wasn't the cool product anymore. It wasn't the nice product anymore. That product became that look now. You know what I mean? Because weed was fighting for that space, and all of a sudden everybody wanted to be Scarface.
Jiminy Christmas.
So the transition. So you know who got caught in the transition? My dad. Because he thought that he was Scarface now, you know what I mean? We got you know what I mean, the double breast jackets and the flannel, you know
Wow.
what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everybody, because everybody's starting to look structured, right? Everybody wanted
Right.
structure. Right. So my dad kind of stepped away from the weed, and all of a sudden he thought he was Scarface, you know what I mean? So me not being born, no, I have no photos of being a baby. I have no photos of growing up. My only photo I had was when I was age 18. That was my first photo. Because remember that the structure of this whole Scarface thing came with hide and seek.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We'd never kidnapped nobody. We'd never hurt nobody. You never see people show up at your house with guns when it comes to weed. So this new structure now. So we'd had to go back underground again in the 90s.
Wow.
We went back underground in the 90s. So no, we became again back to, yo, you know who got the good shit? And a person would say, yeah, and then you had to go to a fucking corner alley just to go grab the weed. While you could stay at a light post and pick up that other drug. Right? So we became go right back into underground. And when we went back underground, it made the most money. So between the 90s to early 2000, weed made so much money underground, it became the black market. The 90s ushering the black market. So fast rolling paper was there with the black market. So we're in New York, we're in LA. If you notice, what built LA? The black market.
Right.
It was weed. It was the 90s. That literally built LA. Like, you know what I mean? You know, the black market of weed, right? So
I'm
if you
sorry,
know,
I'm blushing, man, but these stories are really getting to me that you've been a part of this. Your family's been a part of this. Man, this is craziness.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing this so much.
yeah. So we're in pockets everywhere, right?
Wow.
So now when so during that now, in the 90s now, you know, my dad, you know, in the United States, I'm in Jamaica. Yeah, no offense. As what you said, I have a great speaking voice. I grew up very proper. We not all of us grew up in a sense where it was I would be lying to you. God forbid, on my grandma and grandfather's grave, I would say I struggled.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be lying to you. Yes, whatever struggle I had in life, I created them on my own. But I'd be lying to you that I didn't come from a construct, you know, of being a part of this whole situation, right? So my family moved to Miami in the 90s. Like, you know, my grandfather died in the 90s. So my entire family, my grandma took all her kids to Miami and we relocated to Miami, you know? So no, they walked away from this whole structure of, you know, business, because the men who run the business were dying. So the only thing the mothers had to do was just take care of the kids. So they walked away from this whole thing. You know, me, growing up as a kid, everybody wants to be their father's son, correct?
Yes.
Every man wants to be their father's son, right?
Yep.
You know, I'm the son of my
how bad
father.
or how good he is. Yep.
Right. No matter how bad or good he is, I am the son of my father. I am my father's son, such as my son, such as I am to my grandfather, such as my grandfather to my father.
Absolutely.
Correct.
That I agree with.
Right. So me thinking that my dad was was Scarface and cool and all that, I wanted to be, you know what I mean? I wanted to be Benny Blanco, you know? You know what I
Hey,
mean?
absolutely.
Yeah. I went to great schools in Jamaica. Went to Catholic schools. Went to one of the best high schools in Jamaica. It's called Cornwall College in Montego Bay. I grew up in Montego Bay. I grew up as a beach boy. I'm on the beach every day, man. I
Wow.
don't. Yeah, it's weed and beach, man. It's weed, white sands, bikinis, and palm trees, man. I don't
Man.
know. Yeah, I don't know nothing else. When people come to me like, "Oh, yo, what's going on? What's this?" I'm like, I don't know.
All I know is snow hills and hillbillies.
Yeah,
Damn, I
yeah,
grew up in the wrong section of the world. Shit.
yeah. I know. I just don't know. Come to me with politics, bro. I don't know. You come to me with, if it's not
Right.
structured on the beach, the white sands, chill,
Wow.
bikinis, whatever. I just don't know. And my grandpa told me from a long time ago that what you focus on is what will take up your time. So you have to be careful what your focus is, right? So there's a lot of things we just don't know. If we want to know, we'll definitely research and find the truth out of the matter. You know what I mean? But if you want to
Right.
know everything, you will not know the truth. You work with this information, right? So during that time, in the 90s, I went to a great school. That went to the all boys school, a Catholic school called Cornwall College. Cornwall College was like another melting pot because people from the United States who work in Jamaica, their kids would have to go to that school. The prime minister's son will go to that school. Everybody who was have some alignment to something went to that school.
Okay.
So yeah, so going to that school now, I'm like, yo, I ain't be no damn politician, bro. No, fuck that shit. You know what I
I
mean?
feel
It's
you.
time to
I
work
feel you
hard
on
to
that. I
be a
really do.
part of that political world. And here am I, who is their offspring, is telling everybody like, fuck that. And you know what I mean? Again, see what weed does? It gives
Yep.
you the right to do your own thing. That's the joy about weed. It helps you to think, say, hey, my own thing can work too. You know what I mean? You don't have to go with the family structure. You can just do your own thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a
I
lot of
100% agree with that because that's right there in my life too. Because I would never become a cop because I don't like the idea of something like this being taken from people. I don't. And I couldn't be a cop to go arrest somebody for that. No, and that's what my family is. Nothing against what they've chosen. I
no,
just didn't choose that route. So yeah,
right.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, so
Please
weed
continue.
gives
I'm
you the
sorry to
opportunity.
interrupt you.
No, man, it's good to interrupt, man. So weed gives you the opportunity to be a part of whatever you want to do. A lot of people don't know about that part. So yeah,
Thanks
so
for
I was
letting me
like,
know.
yo, I want to be a part of this. Yeah, yeah. Me, thinking that I'm the new kid on the block, start selling weed to everybody else, whatever. So I
Mhm.
grew and started having fun, giving trouble. Got shot. Got hurt. Been in places I'm
Wow.
not supposed to be. Uh, Weed has brought me to islands and countries that I would have never been to. So I can get the product there and stuff. But so fast forward to after all that, I moved to Canada. Moved to Canada now because one day my mom was like, "You need to have a life. You can't just be smoking weed on the beach."
What?
I'm
That's
like,
what everybody else is
what?
driving for. Mama done
I'm like,
trying to kick you off the
I'm like,
beach.
why am I so
What the
important? Like all
hell?
my friends are here chilling, having fun, living the life, and why you gotta single me out of importance to fucking leave
Wow.
this shit? you know,
No shit.
no shit, right?
God.
But damn, we love our mom, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, so
That's funny, though. That is really fucking
yeah,
funny.
yeah. So we're gonna listen, right?
Yeah, no matter how bad it is, yes, you're
Yeah, no
gonna
matter how
listen.
bad it is, we're gonna
Yeah, but
listen,
I don't
right?
wanna hear it, but alright, go ahead.
Yeah, okay,
Yep,
all right. I'll go
you're
do what
right.
you gotta do because I won't live this through if I don't do what you say. So
Yeah.
let me at least go try, right? So came to Canada, structured, settled. Brought my oldest, my sons are here. So then working in Canada, and I'm like, I really left the beach for fucking snow. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, so but weed was my savior here. Weed was actually my savior. It was the only thing that kept me picturing the beach, the bikinis, the palm trees in the middle of -40. I'm
Okay.
still
Wow,
looking
that's
at
a fucking big jump, man. A
no,
negative
no,
40?
no, 360, man. Three fucking
Wow.
60. So,
Holy
so you
shit.
know, so yeah. So during that time, Fast Rolling Papers still around. Um, Also, the reason why we're called Fast Rolling Papers is because our first before leaving to come to Canada, me and my friends who went to the same high school, we came together and started our first business. So during that time in Jamaica, you had to do two things. You had to either be a part of a gang or you be a part of a crew. A crew is a socialite type thing, you know. Crew, you
Okay,
go
yeah.
to parties, you be around friends. Gangs, no, you know, you're a different talk, different conversation. You know, you're in a different spectrum of things. So we were a crew. So we were like, yo, what should we call the crew or whatever you. So during that time, the term frass was coined, not by us, but by a structural form that frass means chill, relax, enjoy life, all that jazz. So
Okay.
because we're in that middle class spectrum, we stole the name, literally. Like, you know, we're like, no, this is our name. You know what I mean? We're called Frass Family, you know? And then we started keeping like get-togethers after school on Fridays to invite like friends and stuff. Because we went to an all-boys school. They were like, yo, we know 2 all-girl schools. Yo, invite the girls. You know what I mean? So no, it became a you know, it
I
became a
got the weed.
social construct on a Friday evening. And then we were graduating from school. We kept a party, and that party we called ourselves Frass Family. This became one of the largest party ever kept where we're from. Right?
Wow.
Largest party, you know, and we kept the party at Jimmy Cliff's beach house. Like Jimmy Cliff, the artist, we kept the
Wow.
party at his beach house.
No
Because we were
shit.
friends. Yeah, we were friends with his sons. You know what I mean? It was the same group. And we call ourselves Frass Family. But give you a joke. During that time, we're calling ourselves Frass Family because we're walking around, you know, being the Dons or whatever, calling ourselves Frass Family. Our parents knew what Frass meant from a scientific point of view and didn't tell us. You know what Frass means from a scientific point of view? You
I don't
want to
even
know?
want to think.
You don't even want to, right? But we kind of flipped it. So from a scientific point of view, the word Frass is actually coined with weed too, you know. So Frass is actually insect poop that is
Really?
used to grow weed. It's a
No shit.
fertilizer. It's a fertilizer.
Wow.
So we're walking around calling ourselves Frass Family, right? Our parents are looking like, yeah, they call themselves shit family. Don't worry. You know, they're not our kids. You know what I mean? They walk around don't worry, they're not our kids, right? They're not our kids. Don't worry, they're not our kids.
And
You
now
know?
we know why Google was invented, because weed invented Google because people were tired of being referred to words and things they didn't know
Yeah,
the
you know what I mean?
definition
So we're walking
of.
around calling ourselves Frass Family at that time. Yeah, you know, my mom and my friends' parents were like, yeah, shit family. You know, they're young, they're kids. Leave them alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, who
So
would have thought it was
so when
still
we
connected to weed like that? That's crazy.
that's crazy. So in Jamaica, Frass means chill, relax, have fun, beach, life, whatever. Yeah, the doctors, yeah, that's shit.
Right.
Right?
What
So
the fuck? That's crazy.
yeah, so guess what now? So we took the tagline like, yo, we sell good shit. Because remember, one point in time, weed was called good shit. Because you had to use words and acronyms to buy weed at one point in time when it was
Right.
on the ground. You couldn't go to a person like, yo, you got any weed? He wouldn't sell you. You'd be like, bro, you're trying to set me up. I don't got weed. I got good shit. Do you want some good shit? I got it. So we flipped the script and we're like, yeah, we're the good shit family. You know, we don't care. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Nothing gonna hinder we being the talk of the town. You know what I mean? So yeah. So we flipped it
My
and called
goodness.
ourselves the good shit. So Frass Roll Imperial, we sell good shit. You know what I mean? We sell good shit. So when somebody come around and be like, somebody come around and trying to be the educated one, the intelligent one, and be like, oh, we know what Frass means. I'm like, sure. Yeah, me too.
Yep.
We
Lay it
sell
on
good
me.
shit. Yeah, lay it on me.
Absolutely.
We sell good shit. So whatever you're gonna come with, we already know. So yeah, so the party kept, we call ourselves Frass Family. We're still friends up to this day. Like all of us, friends up to this day. Good thing about WhatsApp and all these Discord groups, all your friends can
Right.
stay connected, right? All of us were progressive in the world. I got doctors, some of us became doctors, lawyers, cops, bankers, like everything. We all became something in life, you know what I mean? Per se. So and I was said to them, say, hey, we gotta do something with the name. And eventually we coined Frass Rolling Papers, you know?
Man.
And yeah, we've been part of everything from then until now. And then hopefully my kids and my friends' kids, we're gonna take it to another level, like a world domination level. You know? So fast forward to 2016, while me being in Canada, weed became legal.
In Canada then.
in Canada then, 2016. It was the first time you could get weed
I
through.
never asked that question to any of the Canadians that I know. I've never asked anybody when it actually
Yeah,
became
we
legal.
we became illegal. We became legal for medical use in 2016. So you could have bought weed online, and it came directly to your door in 2016. So the only thing you needed to keep the cops off you in 2016, you had to have a medical card, right? You had to go to the doctor. The doctor had to diagnose you with whatever you have, so we can help you through that, through the diagnosis, right? So 2016 we became legal. So during 2016, I'm here thinking about, should I do what my grandfather did, but do it from a legal point of view? You know what I mean? Open a dispensary and all that and all that. So I thought about all of that, but when I look at overhead, it was crazy. You had to be a drug dealer to open a damn dispensary.
It's pretty fucked up, isn't it?
It was so fucked up. Like, you as a normal person doing a 9 to 5 or having some money in your pocket could never fund this. You literally had to be a drug dealer to open a dispensary, because that's how it was coined, right?
Yeah.
Because in Canada, there's no equity on weed, there's no nothing. So the bank doesn't give you a loan to open a store.
No shit.
Yeah, the bank doesn't
Wow.
help you. Yeah, the bank doesn't help you, bro.
Yeah, where are you supposed to go then? Yeah, where are you supposed to go? There's only one place you go.
You got to go to the black market. I got to come to Rob.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You gotta go
On the black
underground, you're right.
market,
You gotta
like,
come to
yeah,
somebody,
I gotta go see Rob for a minute and show him the ideology, and hopefully Rob will invest, right?
Yeah.
Until the business structure itself, and then so I did my research for 2 years, either thinking about dispensary or whatever, or my own strain. Same thing. You had to be from a farmer's family to have a farm to grow weed. It was that it's so expensive for you to do it. It might as well the guy who grows canola grows weed. It might as well.
Might as
Right?
well, yeah.
Yeah, might as well. So I took 2 years to do product research, study, all of that. And then 2018, October 17 is when weed got legal across the board in Canada. Like, anybody and everybody over the age of 18 or wherever province you are, 21, can smoke weed. The only thing you can't smoke weed at schools, daycare, or, you know what I mean, anything to do with the younger generation, which is great. You know?
Gotcha. Yeah, that's
Right.
perfect.
So it became 2018, and I was like, okay, let me decide what we're gonna do. I was like, you know what? In 2018, I was thinking, if the world ends, there's only three things gonna be concurrent: is water, weed, and rolling papers.
You're exactly right.
Food we can hunt, you know.
Yep.
But water and weed and rolling paper is going to be rationed, right? So, you know what I mean, it's going to be in the plus. So we're like, I'm like, okay, 2018, okay, let's go backwards with this whole structure. And we went with rolling papers, because, as I say, if anything happens, your bong is going to be broken. You can't carry that shit in your belongings when you're moving from state to state, just in case you're looking for water. A rolling paper can be holding your pocket. You know what I mean? A bag of weed can be in your pocket. Your bong, you're gonna have to build a contraction or something to hold that bong on you. You know what I mean? Right.
It has to be. You're right.
Yeah. So we thought about the apocalyptic type situation with weed, and we're like, yeah, rolling papers will be here forever, no matter what. I mean, and then we look at Zigzag history; they've been around since the 1700s. We look at Rizla history; they've been around since the 1800s. These are vampires, literally. They're still here, right? So we look at their structure, because you know, never you outshine the master, right? Learn from him.
Absolutely.
Never you
That's why
outshine the
I'm glad
master.
I'm listening to you right now.
Yeah, you learn from him, right? So we had to learn from the guys from the 1700s and 1800s, because they're still here. You know, remember that our comparator per se, they came around 2006. They're around with Facebook. A lot of people, we need to talk about that. So that's a different. Another time you have me on it, we talk about the coloration between Facebook and Raw. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Mind control. It's a different level. But yeah, so they come around 2006, right? And they've done so well because they're a world product. You know, from 2006 to now, I commend them for what they have done. So we came through, as I said, 2018. We were ready. We thought about if the world is ending or if the world is starting, it's going to start with rolling papers. It's going to end with rolling papers and start with rolling papers. So we went that route. We went that route because we don't want to have any overhead.
My God, man, you just explained fucking life in 4 words, and it's
Right.
the answer to you're exactly fucking right. I'm sorry to keep shaking my head and giggling, laughing, or just shit, man.
Yeah. So
Where
yeah.
have you
So
been for the last 45 years of my life to explain this to me? Because I've read up on it and talked to doctors, and you have been just this plethora of knowledge on this.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing this.
we've been in the behind the scenes, per se, putting things together. I mean, that's what we've been doing.
Wow.
So yeah. So COVID, as I say, RIP to people we lost during COVID. RIP to anybody during that timeline. It was a very evasive timeline. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it
Um,
truly was.
so yeah, but it was same time. It was a great timeline for weed smokers. Yeah, weed smokers actually. If you do the research, weed smokers were not as sick as the rest of the world, per se. The weed smokers had the tenacity to just chill, be by themselves, stay away from
Yeah.
everybody. So we were the ones who work with everything the governance of the world said. I mean, I'm a weed smoker. Trust me, 6 feet. I don't want you around me at 6 feet, bro. It's
No
me and
shit.
my weed. It's me and
Yep.
my weed. If we're not
Stay away.
sharing, it's just me and my weed. So 6 feet is perfect for me. You know what I mean?
100%, man. You're right. Fucking yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's a perfect thing you ever did. Was tell someone to stay 6 feet away from me while me smoking my weed. So
Unless they're
thank you for that.
holding you. Are you holding something good? If you're holding something good, that'd be different. You can just toss
That'd
it.
be different.
Just toss
Yeah,
it.
but
Stay back. Toss it.
stay,
Toss it.
toss it,
Yeah.
toss it. Yeah.
Right.
Yo, throw my lighter, bro.
Yeah. Kick it with your foot, damn it. Don't touch it with your hands. It was too close to your mouth. Kick it with
All
your
right.
foot.
Right? Stay home. Don't go anywhere. That's music to a weed smoker.
Right.
Music. Music.
We want you guys to sit at home and just grub out and just chill.
And we just grow weed.
Stay less. Yeah,
Stay
just stay
blessed.
less.
Stay blessed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, don't cough in public. We have a dry cough naturally. So every weed smoker know the what can I put it? The equity of covering their fucking mouth. So we already ready for whatever you're throwing at us. So the weed
Yeah.
smokers actually enjoyed the pandemic. If you know, in Canada, weed made record sales during the pandemic. I think it was one of the most number one sold products
Wow.
in, like, across the board. I'm talking like food, recreational, alcohol, everything. Weed was one of the number one products sold during the pandemic. So we jumped into being sold in stores during the pandemic, because during that
Okay.
time you had to sell local. So if you're from the United States, you had to push your local product in the United States, right? If you're in Canada,
Right. Yeah.
push
Because
your
you
local
couldn't go
product.
anywhere or anything
You
like
couldn't
that.
go
Just
anywhere, you
support
couldn't
local.
do anything, right?
Yeah.
Right, correct. Likewise, everywhere in the world, you support local. So we started pushing the whole idea of local. So we went into research of finding out what can make papers, what's the best weed paper, what has no metal, no plastic, little to no glue on the tape. You know what I mean? Um, all this kind of jazz. So it gave us the opportunity to do that, and then we found manufacturers all over the world who would help us to create this. Because in Canada, I don't attest me on this, but this is kind of a rule or law. In Canada, we can't make papers. We have some of the best trees in the world, maple trees and all that, but we can't make papers because I think during the World War II, I think Canada signed the right for another country to take care of that part of things.
Oh,
So
okay.
so Canada doesn't make papers. So all the logs and trees are shipped to another country to make papers,
Right.
and then we Canadians buy back from them. So
Okay.
the paper that you write on are not made in Canada. So we couldn't make fast rolling papers in Canada from Canadian trees here, because
Gotcha.
Canada has a rule of no papers. We don't make papers here. We buy them from other countries. But the joy about the fast rolling papers, we got Canadian trees to get
Okay.
and then they get the hemp through that process, and we have fast rolling papers. So it's like a real Canadian product. You know what I mean? With the
Wow.
Colombian feel. So the Caribbean feel of the product is the whole cover of it, but the papers are genuinely Canadian. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. So we went ham to make sure that we make sure that the public enjoyed something. So our mantra is affordability and quality for all.
And that's
So
a hell of a one.
yes, so I can brag and say we have the top 4 rolling paper in the world. We even beat our competitor who's stronger than us, who's better than us. Thank you, man. We work hard for that. So we're the top 4 product in the world, over a competition who's bigger. You know what I mean? We
face a lot too. I mean,
yeah,
it's all about being in the forefront, and sometimes you get restricted on even the socials. I noticed because you were talking about it a second ago. Even I've seen you get restricted on Instagram and some of your comments about it. Why is that?
Okay. Okay, let's put it this way. Shout out to everybody who's watching and who's listening, so they'll understand what where we're gonna go with this, because this is deep. This is like deep sea diving. You know what I mean? But this, but this is not like the billionaires who tried to go down to that ship and didn't came back. So this is we're coming back up. Okay, we're going to deep diving and then we're coming back up. All right. Weed is the only product in the world that doesn't discriminate. I'm serious.
I agree with that.
Weed is the only product in the world that doesn't discriminate. It doesn't has a face. It doesn't has a skin color. It doesn't has a blood type. So the guy who used to go and buy weed from around the corner would never tell you that he's not going to sell you weed because of your structure or your color or what. Never. You know what I mean? He's more to have a conversation with you and know who's buying weed from, who's buying his weed, versus him telling you, yo, no, bro, you look like a cop. I ain't selling you weed.
Sit down, smoke with me. At least one.
Yeah. At least one. Correct.
At least one.
So weed has never been a part of a social construct that prevents people from coming together. Right?
Right, like in mainstream media. I got you. Yes.
You see where we're going with this. I like where we're going with this, right?
Yeah. It's your show, my man. Really.
Yeah, so I like where we're going with this. So all of a sudden, no. Me and you, we're chill. Rob, we smoke weed together. We share. We laugh. People pass us and say, "Oh, those 2 guys smoking weed."
Mm-hmm.
We go on what you said, mainstream media, social media, and other constructs, so to speak. And all of a sudden, Rob smoking weed on his Instagram, whatever, is dubbed as cool, chill, after work. Me puffing weed on my social, that's a drug dealer.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, but it's not the people. Damn. It's not the people that's creating this you know what I mean, this division. It's what you said. It's mainstream media selling something, and then it becomes a social construct on the internet. Right? So so here's the kicker now. It moved from people doing selling that ideology to AI picking it up.
Wow.
So let's say AI has become the big R word, right?
Mm-hmm.
So AI see Rob doing it, the AI won't flag Rob, because as I said, the social construct is that Rob is doing something to relieve himself, to have fun with it, and to chill. But on my social construct, we're still in the damn 1989, 1990s. We're still there. No, it's not. But guess what?
Damn.
Guess what? But guess what? As I say, if you check weed, anytime it goes into a holding type situation, it goes underground and become better. So you know what we did? We didn't go for the social media look. We went straight to the people. So, and that's why we're having the conversation. So I can come see you and give you some weed and say, hey, here's some rolling papers. Could you try this out for me? And let me know how quality the paper is. Right? Instead of me going through social media where a person is going to determine what my color is to determine if they're going to try my papers or not. So the public with weed has no quote unquote, oh, I don't want your product because you're that person. No, because weed doesn't have that. Weed doesn't have that kind of restraint amongst people. So in the public side, we're one of the best products ever. On social media, nobody knows us.
That is so
You-
fucked up.
No, but I prefer the public over social media.
Well, yeah, word of mouth to me has always been the best way for things to travel.
Correct. Right. Word of
Because
mouth
I would
beats
much
word of
rather-
mouth beats social media.
Yeah, I'd rather much rather go to a dispensary or my guy that I talk with on occasions and get to know them on what it is and what their opinions are, because you can
Cool.
buy anything from anybody. You know,
Right.
I don't like buying weed from a gas station, even though
No.
we can here, but you don't know what you're buying, and then you don't have anyone there to explain it to you. And then that's when it gets an even worse rap. Oh, my son got sick, my daughter got sick. Well, they just went and bought 80 pounds of something that was all mixed up in who knows what because the government regulated it now and had no clue what they were putting in their body.
We don't know how long that weed was sitting on the shelf.
Exactly. That's another one. Yes. Because
We
when they
don't know.
dump a lot of that shit together, there's mold in it. And it's been
There's
there, and you
mold in
just
it.
don't know.
We don't know. Right. We don't know the shelf life. That's something that's the only thing I like about Canada with the regulation of how they went out with the weed. They went all out with regulations. So
Really?
so the last thing you
That's
can do
great.
is sue. Yes, last thing you can do is sue them. You know, that's how
Nice,
far they
dude.
went. But the last thing the public can do is sue them. So we don't get funky weed in the dispensaries. You know, what I mean, we might get spray on. Don't get me wrong, because that's a thing.
Yeah.
Right? Right. You see spray on in the damn supermarkets. So if you
Yeah, you get it.
if you see it on the fruits, trust me, they're gonna put it on the weed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm waiting to see like this crazy grow, because where they've made corn go from like this big all the way up to this big now, and then to this big and into this big, and who knows what kind of other kind of weird
Whatever
genetics they put together.
whatever genetics they've attached to it. So
Yeah, people are gonna have stalks the size of their leg when it comes to weed, like in 40 years from now, because regulations will change and allow them to morph things like that. But there will always be that street weed.
you're
There will
using
always be those.
you're using the words of the future, morphine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
all
crazy, isn't
that.
it?
All
It's
that is
awful.
happening in front of our eyes, right?
Yeah. And I
All
never
that's
thought
happening.
it, you know, being a product of the 80s and growing up through the 90s, and I will go exactly the opposite of what you're saying. I seen every bit of that stuff you're describing.
Yeah.
The war on drugs we have this short little fuzzy-headed white lady who's in our White House saying, just say no. And I hit every school. We had DARE programs. We had all this. So if you smelled weed or you smell a skunk, you go tell somebody. Okay. Now I'm gonna go tell somebody, hey, somebody's got some good shit. Like, come over here.
You see, use the term good shit. That
Oh,
was
I
a
use the term
tagline,
good shit
right?
all the time.
Yo, I know somebody got some good shit. Yo, let's go check him.
And I was saying loud before loud
No.
was anything. What I would do is I would smell it and I go, damn. And my buddy would be like, what? I'm like, you don't hear that? Man, I can hear that shit from all the way over here. That shit is
See?
loud. And,
See?
and it just picked up like that. It's
Right.
crazy on how you have to talk a certain way. It's like the speakeasies of the time with right before Prohibition. But I
Correct.
was always told there was no way for him to tax weed back then. There was a battle
Yeah.
in the United States between weed and alcohol, which was going to get it. And there was more million and billionaires then that were controlling the alcohol that wanted
Right.
that and wanted that taxation. So that's why this became 100% illegal. We don't
See?
want anybody touching some kind of anything that will put any other euphoria in their body except for our alcohol. That's how that went.
Correct. I saw. Look at you know what's crazy about the timeline? 936, right, to 2026, right? Is what 100, right?
Yep.
It took 100 years for weed to start killing alcohol,
Isn't it
and
crazy?
weed has done it naturally.
I used to drink religiously. I would stop
I
every day
used to
from
drink.
work
Come on,
and
I'm
drink
Jamaican.
6
Come on, man.
pints.
It's a social norm for me to have a beer over tea or coffee.
Absolutely.
It's a social norm for
I
me
was
to have.
getting off work at 7 o'clock in the morning and going to the bar. Damn near got divorced in early ages just because. What are you doing drinking 7 o'clock in the morning? Well, it's my midnight for you.
It's my
I mean,
midnight, bro. Of course, it's my after work. What the fuck? It's social construct for me to have a drink. It's social, right?
Absolutely.
So, right. So look at it. Took 100 years
Man.
for weed to actually start killing alcohol. 100 years, and this new generation, right?
And I'm so glad that you've hung in there through all of this too, to give us this great product and being on here and sharing this fucking amazing story, man. I've had some people on here. I've had some business owners before. And of course, we've talked about just everyday life and things, but to hear this from the very, very beginning till now, man, I'm completely blown away.
Yeah, it's real, man. It's real. As I say, timestamps and shoelaces are the thing. You know what I mean? As I say, my grandfather being a master carpenter, You measure twice, cut once.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what
And
I
you
am
know,
by trade. I'm welder and industrial maintenance. I've done
yeah,
carpentry work since I was like
yeah,
8. That was the first time I ever took
yeah.
part in helping build something. So I respect every bit of that, man. When as soon
Correct.
as you opened your mouth and said that, that's
Yeah,
how I judge people. You know,
yeah.
if you can tell me that I worked for a living and me see you that you worked for a living, we can be friends forever.
We
I
can be
don't like
friends forever.
to have to sit around and just wait for that to come because it won't come. Now it
Yeah,
may from your family, but that's what's wrong with half the people that's out here now. If they would quit trying to try to beg for weird shit, just change yourself, change one outlook, change one aspect. Mine was weed.
yeah. It was
I've
weird.
never turned back since then, man. I'm honestly, I would
Yeah,
have been dead. I would have been dead if it was not for weed.
yeah. Likewise, I have died a million times, and weed has resurrected a million times, and weed has resurrected me. Oh, every moment,
Wow.
every step of the way. So yeah. So as I said, most of us grew up through the essence of selling, finding the best product, being a part of structure, and then, as I said, the joy about my grandfather, my dad, they were part of that illegality world, that the taboo, the black market,
Mhm.
creating structure, and then no, I'm part of the legalization of it. So I don't have to be in their world trying to usher in new things. I
Right.
have the capacity to be on shows like yours to speak up on these things. You know what I mean? As I
And
said,
you're
I don't.
always welcome here. I'm just telling you that now
Yeah,
before you
as I said,
continue. Anytime
I
you
don't
ever
have any
you say,
force.
I
So,
want to talk, we're
and
gone.
you're like the first podcast I've did. I've been invited to a lot of podcasts. It's just that I don't have time for. I grew up not with cameras, right?
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm still on social. I'm still on social when it comes to cameras. I'm still on social when it comes to computers. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I'm still have to be learning how to do things, though, because as what you said, everything is morphed into one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
don't change
so
at times with it, times will leave us behind, and it's the way it's always been.
it has always been. Remember that time doesn't change. The only thing changes times is lifestyles.
Yeah.
Times don't change. All lifestyles do, right? The color of a shirt, right? That's the only thing that
Yep.
changes. Right.
And
So
it's so hard.
yeah,
I can only imagine what you went through. It's hard to adapt sometimes because getting out of your comfort zone to get your name out there, to get your message out there is something hard to
yeah,
do.
yeah. It's hard to do. It's hard to do in terms of how can it? It's not hard enough in a sense, but it's hard when you have 1,000 faces. You know what I mean? When you have to be in certain circles,
Yeah.
and where I live in Alberta, I have to be the token guy, right? You know what I mean? And it's not because of the situation. It's just that it's where I'm taking fast rolling papers to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're a business. We're not small or big. You know what I mean? We're a
Gotcha.
construct. We're moving forward. So I have to be in rooms with people who have never smoked weed all their, just like me. We've known weed ever since the 90s. I have to be in rooms with people who were introduced to weed 2001, 2002. You know what I mean? Right? So they have
The
no
worst times, yeah. It's
yeah, they
right.
have no knowledge of how to bring across products. So I tend to be the token guy in a lot of spaces of knowledge of product and consumerism and mannerism. You know what I mean? How you go about stuff, how you go about weed. I've been to places where, because whenever I go to seminars or gatherings, I always ask these people who are managers of weed companies or CEOs. I'm like, do you have like a 3.5 on you right now, bro? And none
Mhm.
of them will have on them. But I'll have my rolling paper in my pocket because I'm ready to smoke
Right.
weed.
Yeah.
But even though the CEOs, they never have weed on them, I'm like, then how are you gonna get the product across? If
Right.
you're just, you don't have to smoke it. You can be like the McDonald's friggin' CEO. He doesn't eat McDonald's, but
Right.
he's gonna do it just to make sure that you see that he does it. So
Absolutely.
you're a CEO and you have no weed. You're in a full on Armani suit with no weed in your pocket. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's
so
not right.
yeah, so I have to be in certain circles to introduce that. Hey, I know if I came in and asked for a cigarette, I could get a cigarette from somebody. And yet I'm at a weed conference. I'm
Really?
at a weed conference, and if I want a cigarette, I can get it from one of you guys. But if I want something just rolling paper, nobody has weed on it,
Oh my
right?
God. Come here. Where you want to go? You're not smoking without me. Come on.
Yeah,
Let's go
but
somewhere. That's what it's going to be.
right, see, right.
Do you
So,
do that though? Because do you do that when you walk into a room? Do you just like spot check and go, yeah, if need be, he'll go with me or she'll go with me, or I'm sure they would. Because I do.
well, I do in terms of a public, from a public point of view. But if I go into any room, everybody in there want to smoke weed. So I put myself.
I would want to smoke with you even if I didn't smoke. I would
No,
want to try
of
at least
course
once.
we'll definitely link up. And you remember you mentioned about the social media and the division.
Mhm.
That's the reason why I don't smoke on social media. And when I smoke on social media, they flag us.
Well, you're more than welcome to smoke on this show if you want to, because
Next
I have
time,
my
next
channel
time, huh?
all set. Yeah, I forgot to tell you that when we started. No, I don't want to stop you from talking. If you
Yeah,
feel up to chatting still more, this is your show. I wanted you on
yeah.
here to share your story, and your story is fucking blowing me away, man. And
So yeah,
we're still
so
have people filing in to watch. Thank you to everybody again in the
yo,
comments. I
shout
will
out to
get to those
everybody,
for
man.
sure.
Respect, you know what I mean? So yeah, man.
We're
So
pushing 200 people watching us right now, my man, and I
yo,
like that for this
we're
time of night
growing.
in the
You
middle.
see, we're growing, right? Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So 2018, 2020 COVID, we did good. Part of the local struck. We're sold everywhere. Then COVID ended, which we love. We love the fact that we could see our families, see everybody, you know what I mean, be a part of everything. But at the same time, my last son, my first last son per se, he was born in 2018. So during the COVID, I had the opportunity of being part of his world, so per se, and be a part of that. So after COVID, I kind of took time out to be a part of my son's world, because I don't know if you noticed, during COVID, again, things were morphing.
Yeah.
Things were morphing. Things were changing, right? So I wanted to be a part of my son's world in this early timeline of his, to teach him things. Teach him, because you can teach a baby survival skills, and they remember it when they're older. So I took the time out. We were in stores, we were growing, getting bigger, and then I had to make the conscious decision to be like, you know what, let me not miss my son's taekwondo classes. Let me not
Right.
miss his first football game. He's playing quarterback. He thinks he's Tom Brady. You know what I mean?
Well, good for him. Keep
Yeah,
that
let
thought.
me not
Yeah,
miss
just
these things. So collectively, for the past, since 2023 to know, I've been working on the social media thing, being part of social media, learning while taking care of my son. So no, he's okay. He's great. I think he's gonna be part of this whole structure, because my oldest, he's like my grand uncle. He's a general mechanic. You know what I mean? He's big on that. That's his world.
sweet.
Doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, straight nose type of kid. Yeah, He's he's too straight nose for me. He remind me of He remind me of my grandfather. Just too straight. You know what I mean? Yeah, he doesn't have any. Yeah, nothing can break him type of vibe.
Damn it,
I'm
where's
like,
Nancy Reagan at? What do you have her playing
yeah,
in
where's
here in your
Nancy Reagan
bedroom?
at? We
Turn
need
her
somebody
off.
to break him down a little bit, right?
Turn her off, damn it.
So I told him his first divorce is going to break him, but he doesn't listen to me, right?
No.
I
That's
told him.
well, no, I don't want to say that
I
because I
told him.
definitely don't. I
told
want to
him.
go that route. I'm happy where I'm at now, but I
Yeah,
guarantee if
you
I'd have
know?
done weed a long time ago, I'd have been a different person for
Yeah,
sure.
but I jeer my kids. We run the joke, you know what I mean? We don't
That's
take
awesome.
life too seriously. You know what I mean?
I
We
love
don't take
that.
it too seriously, you know what I mean?
I have
Because
three.
I'm the old dad who thinks he's 21. That's their running joke with me, right? That's
I
their
run mine the
running
wrong
joke.
way for wearing masks on some of the videos I put on, but it's a way to get out there because it's a humor. You know what I mean? It's I
Right.
have to escape with that. And
Correct.
who hasn't been laid back and ripped and look up and went, damn, is that a fucking unicorn?
Is that a
And why
unicorn?
not?
Yeah.
What?
Is that a
Is that a
bunny?
horse that just walked by that window?
Yeah.
I had a chicken come up on me once. I was so stoned. I looked over and I said, "Is that a fucking chicken?" And it just sat in my doorway. I thought somebody's playing a joke on me, but it wasn't. The neighbor's chicken actually got out and it was on my porch and standing right
Yeah.
in front of my door when I had my screen door open. Freaked me the
Yeah.
hell out. But I
Yeah.
didn't blame
So
weed.
yeah. So I took time off for my kids for a minute, and they're great now, and we're back on the road. We're back into getting into more stores, more locations, more countries. Like I said, we're sold over 2 countries so far outside of Canada. We're moving to the Philippines, well, not Philippines, but Thailand. We'll be sold in Thailand very soon.
Wow,
So if you know,
congratulations.
we go for countries that already has legalization, right?
Smart, very smart.
Right, and these countries are from a demographic are huge because Mexico, weed is legal in Mexico, right? Mexico has
Yes.
a large demographic of people. Thailand, large demographic of people. Germany, large demographic of people, right? So I mean, Spain has a little bit of legalization where you can you can smoke weed on the beach in the evenings, but it's not
Okay,
legal. But they have a little bit. African countries are now changing their trajectory with medical marijuana. So
good.
it's more of of a conversation. The reason why I think the United States hasn't legalized yet because if you notice, the largest states already have legal weed.
Yeah.
New York, California, Denver, Colorado, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Ohio has medical marijuana now, right?
And we have rec too. They did give
And
us rec.
you got rec right now too. So if you notice, these are the large demographics.
And notice
So
you said right now though, because our governor's actually trying to take that back. Even though it's voted in and we all agreed, to get it on the ballot
yeah,
and to vote it in, he's trying to cut down the amount that you can intake per day, how much you can grow. He actually wants it to be completely gone. So
yeah,
we have to
because
vote on it again. It's like issue 68 when it comes up.
right, and I hope you guys vote to keep it in because
Oh, absolutely.
because we had the conversation prior. Everybody has a thought process for themselves when they smoke weed. It
Yep.
it ultimately clicking, be like, something is wrong with that, or something is right about that. It give you that, you know what I mean, that space per se, right? So
Yeah, it opens your eyes more. I mean, to me,
yeah,
I mean, not only the
you
creativity in my heart, but I listen to people more. And it's like,
correct.
wow, I
Yeah,
need to shut up more as it is, but you hear a lot more and you feel a lot more from other people. Being on any other type of as in the medical standpoint of any kind of narcotic, you're numb to it. And then when you take that, it actually causes you more pain because if you're not regulating yourself with other things you're eating, then
right,
like the constipation alone, just from taking 1 pill a day, can make your back hurt like somebody just broke it.
correct.
I've never felt that with weed. I've never felt
Um,
anything other
as
than what I was looking for.
as I said, weed doesn't have well, everything has a side effect. Yes, it does. Everything has the yin and yang type of vibe. But I've never heard weed giving the side effect of a pain somewhere else. Doesn't relieve the pain from here and put it somewhere else.
Right.
Most pills are receptors, right? They clone whatever you're going through.
Mhm.
They don't help you. So weed helps. You know what I mean? One of the greatest remedy in Jamaica is soaking weed in white rum with a centipede.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, centipede, we call it 40 legs, right? Come with a
Yes.
sting so it can sting and shit. So a centipede, white rum and weed, soak in a bottle and preserve over time and use for ailments.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, you rub it on you.
No
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, for ailments and so back pains, arthritis pain and all that, all natural.
All right, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
so
try that.
we gotta get you. I gotta get you the white rum to over there for you to definitely do that. It's not so.
Wow.
These are things. Yeah, these are things we put together, as what you say, morph together to help you. So from and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying doctors are don't know what they're doing. Of course, doctors know what they're doing. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for constant research.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Medical procedures for so doctors are part of the help. So you know what I mean? We're not knocking nobody because weed has never knocked another social or society type situation to survive. Weed has never done that. So we're not here to say, hey, that's bad for you. Let's pull weed in. No, we're making sure that you understand that weed is an alternative to everything.
And
Whatever
I
you're
can't
going
wait till
through.
every state and province around will allow that. Just at least give them the option. Let them try it. They're
Yes,
not
let me try,
forcing
right?
weed on you when they do it. My doctor actually did recommend it to me, and I was like, I don't think so. He's like, no, if you change your mind, here's the number you can call. It wasn't like,
Right,
I'm not giving you these anymore. You have to try this or
right,
anything like that. You're 100% correct on that.
right. So
Man,
that's what we're selling because in everything now we live in, we're selling something. You know, you're selling your words, selling your actions, or you're selling a way of life, right? Correct.
Listen
Right?
to me.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean?
Don't do
So
as I
nowadays,
say,
we're,
nor as I do.
yeah,
Just follow the leader. I will have weed. That's where I'm going to be at.
that's it. That's it. Right? We're
Lord love
selling
me, I'll make
something,
it there
right?
eventually, but I got the weed.
You got to eat, right? So, right. So we're selling. So fast rolling papers is pretty much selling that weed is an alternative to your everyday life. And it's not something you need to try today, try tomorrow, try next week, but it's here an alternative. And it will always be here for you. And fast rolling papers will always be here for when you're ready at the appropriate age. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
we're all so we're there with you every day. So we're there for the non-smokers and
Mhm.
smokers. You know what I mean?
Bravo on that statement, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So that's pretty much us in a whole nutshell. You know what I mean? Um what else about fast rolling papers?
I was going to ask you
Um
about the date that you have on your package. Is that when it became Frass at 2001?
yes, 2001 is when we kept the party together as friends.
Okay.
So if you look at our packaging, I don't say, well, I'm going to get you products. If you look at
Yeah, I'm going to
our
put you over on
packaging
the side
tells a
with me.
story. Our packaging tells a story about everything. There's a story in our package. It's not just
There you go. Can you see
it's
that
not
on your
just
screen?
yeah. So it's not just the paper itself and the package. No, the package tells a story. So let's say if you left your phone charging and you're using the bathroom, you can take fast rolling paper as package to the bathroom and read it while you're using the bathroom.
Absolutely.
That's the amount of information and story that's on the package itself. We
Wow.
carry three rolling papers. The gold is our signature. I mean, you know, the gold is original. It's from the timeline of the 70s, 60s, 70s, leading up to now. It's from that reefer generation.
Mhm.
Mobe is a more of a chill, relaxed. Same thing we talk about the beach life. You know, the energy where there's no problems. You know, at least 5 minutes of your day, you don't have problems. At least we can give
Right.
you 5 minutes of no problems. The rest of the 24 hours is on you. But we can help you over 5 minutes to chill,
Oh, I love that.
relax, don't think about things. The freedom, um, papers on the name freedom came from actually my oldest son because during the timeline of we come up with this name was when he was turning 18 going to 19, and the only thing these kids were talking about 2019 to 2020, they wanted
Mhm.
more freedom.
Yep.
Yeah,
Been locked in
so
too long for sure.
yeah, so hence we came up with the ideology of the word freedom papers. Was pretty much, it wasn't attached to any political movement. It was attached to anything from a civil movement. It was actually attached to the new generation. They're always seeking
Man,
some
that's
form
awesome.
of freedom. Always.
That
They're
is
always
awesome.
seeking. Yeah. So the freedom papers is attached to the new generation.
I love how
Always.
you have the 3 separate ones like that because this is what your package looks like, correct? The back screen that
Correct.
we have here?
Correct. These are all the three rolling papers we do have that we do carry.
If you would like, I can share your website when you're talking about those things if you want.
No, please go ahead. Yeah. So papers, they have a story. They tell a timeline. People ask, oh, what the 2001 means? Oh, what does original gold original means? What those all these things mean? So we carry that kind of story. In everything you do, you should have a story. And the story you tell will determine, how people receive you. So we go
What
with
lengths do
that,
these
and
come in?
excuse me.
Do
Yeah,
these come
these are the
in
freedom tips. Yeah, these
more
come
than
in one and
one
a
length?
quarter and 1 3/4.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do 1 1/4 and 1 3/4. So, do you know the story of 1 1/4?
No, actually, I don't.
Oh, geez. All right.
I
Leading up
want to hear it,
to
man. You lay it
yeah,
on me.
leading up to the 60s, 1990s to the 60s, 70s, 60s, 70s, during the hippie movement and all that. Everybody used to smoke the banana leaf. I don't know if you remember that term, where the
Mhm.
joint was just, you know what I mean? You know,
I know
it was a
exactly what you
pass
mean.
around. That shit could pass around in groups. You know, you know, you know, right? right?
We need to carry this shit to get here.
Yeah, you go around like even 20 people and still come back to you, it's still at 3/4, right?
Oh,
You know what I mean? So woman, woman is the mastery of this world, right? Everything we do is pretty much everything we have
yeah.
is because a woman complained, right?
Yeah. I wasn't going with that. I thought you were going to be
No,
nice.
no,
Don't get
for
me in
real.
trouble.
Everything we have, a woman had to come in and say, "Hey, we need to change this.
Stupid. What are you
We need to
doing?
do that." Yeah, it's
You're
always,
right.
always, always.
You're
We build
exactly
a house.
right.
We build a house on the flat deck. A woman come and be like, I need to see the ceiling. You know what I mean? So hence we start building ceilings. You know what I mean? Because we want everybody to be happy. We want everybody to have fun. We want everybody to be inclusive. So
Right.
so during the 60s, 70s, this is just in this story. A lady came up and be like, I can't smoke all this. This is too much for me. I gotta go to the mall. I gotta go do things. So this is
Yep.
too much for me. Men would put down the weed and let it stay there for a day and come back and smoke it. Women just wanted to have fun. Just
I feel
that's
that.
it. So a long banana leaf is not fun. That's a board meeting.
Right.
That's a board meeting,
Yeah.
right? Right.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
Right. So somebody just came up with the ideology, be like, let me just cut the paper in half and roll the joint and give it to her. And she could just.
That'll shut her up. No, sorry.
We gotta be careful. We don't want to be boxing right now. We don't want to be boxing.
I was just going to say, as he's talking, I'm on actual crossrollingpapers.com. Go buy something so he don't get in trouble. It's my fault.
Again,
I didn't mean it. Go buy some
again,
papers.
it was
I'm
black
going to
tech,
keep
and she said she wants to see on, and we turn it into.
And I want it now. Let me forget the word now in that one.
Right. So,
no, I'm 100% joking with everything. With
of course, we're just joking. Yeah, we don't want to lose nobody, right? So,
I'm blink twice if you're okay, though. Just let me know. Blink twice. Are you okay?
So somebody just ripped the paper and rolled it for them, and then everybody was like, "Oh shit!" Then it became easier for a girl to have a small joint in her purse. She could share with her friends. She could, you know what I mean? If you notice, the small joint was actually in women purses. You know what I mean? A girl could roll up with a joint anytime. Me and you roll up with a joint, like I said, we're sure, you know what I mean? Everybody got to see what we have, right? So the 1 1/4 became popular among women who smoked weed.
Wow.
And it just took off and became the staple size for weed. Because if you notice, the tobacco that people used to smoke back in the 1800s, the 1 1/4 can't hold the tobacco because by the time you take a pull, the wind itself is going to smoke it out for you.
Absolutely.
Right. So you want to enjoy. So it had to be a longer version. So the 1 1/4 became popular because of women saying that the weeds were too long, the joints were too long, and it became staple, and then it became the number one size for weed for women to enjoy. And then all the stores everywhere start selling 1 1/4. We entered the market with 1 3/4. Yeah, we didn't go that route because 1 3/4 was harder to sell. And my grandfather would say, if you can sell to 7 people, you have a business. The moment you're sold to seven people, you do have a business. So we took the hardest product in COVID time, as I say, a morphine time where people wanted cones. People wanted a smaller paper so they could enjoy it quickly and move on. Cones, you just stuff the weed, twist the top, and you're good, right?
Yeah.
So easy. So again, COVID ushering easiness, right?
That's what I started out in.
See, it ushered in the whole essence of things being easier. So cones became popular during. Cones became the new look of weed during the pandemic, but we didn't want to go that route because if we went that route, we wouldn't have an identity.
Gotcha.
Right? We would just be part of the status quo, right? So we start out with 1 3/4, express to people, say, hey, we need people to start smoking weed again and start smoking a lot of weed. We need to go back to the 60s. We need to go back to that timeline where people smokes more weed. You know what I mean? And then
Absolutely.
again, our we have a Q&A office, right? We have a Q&A department, and it's 80-20. So we got 80% women, 20% men. And then again, we came today. You know, the 1 3/4 is too long for me to finish. 1 1/4, okay, and we usher in the 1 1/4 right behind it. You know?
I
and,
love that.
and it became a staple in Q&A, and then it became a staple in stores.
That
And
is
so hence
awesome.
now we have our 2 sizes. Oral cones, the reason why we haven't released cones yet is because we're
Cones are
behind the
pussy.
scenes. We're working with
No,
LPs. We're working with LPs for our cones to be used for LPs, like weed
oh
companies
wow.
that sells pre-rolls.
Yeah.
We're behind the scenes right now working with some LPs to have our cones used for their
Hell
product.
yeah.
And
That
then
is
no, and then we'll introduce the cones to the public to sell to the public generally. But we're gonna go through an LP type energy to introduce the cones to the world, you know? So it's
That's
like yeah. Outside of that though, outside of me enjoying weed, actually me being a founder, I'm just a founder. You know, my company, I have staff, so I hire to be up and down, but at the same time, this weed business is not easy, so you got to be in different places.
I can only imagine.
I'm actually a philanthropist. That's where my heart is helping people and helping others. You know.
I'm telling you, you have really laid the educational information on me today that I never expected.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I do appreciate everything that you've put out so far. And you guys
Yeah.
watching right now from Twitter, make sure you go over to hit at 420 FRP. That is what Fresh
Yeah.
Wallpapers is
Follow us,
on there.
man. Yeah. Follow us.
Make
We're
sure you pop
actually
over to
giving away.
Instagram.
When we get to 1,000 followers, we're giving away our signature hat. You know,
Let me go right back
very,
over to this. You guys are
yes.
not that far away. I will do my damnedest. I'll get you there.
No
I'll
worry,
get
man.
you there in about a week and
We're
a half.
taking our time. So our 1,000 follower who smokes weed gets our signature hat and rolling papers and every other thing we have to offer, you know?
And you're going to
So
have to
yeah,
be following them. So make sure you go over and follow them on at 420
yeah.
FRP on
So
Twitter. Now, your Instagram, is it at FRP? Or shoot, I'm sorry,
no, it's
420
Crash Rolling
FRP?
Papers. Crash
Okay.
Rolling Papers on Instagram.
And this is what their
Crash
Instagram
Rolling
page looks
Papers
like.
everywhere.
Pop over there and like them, follow them, go down through and
Yeah.
show them some love. Share them out, and you'll see them definitely on my reels or stories or whatever the hell that shit is that goes across the top, because I love sharing out the stuff that you put
Yeah,
out there.
we share for everybody. So yeah,
Absolutely.
so outside of the business, I'm a philanthropist. I've been doing this ever since me going to school in Jamaica. We're always following the essence to help others. I
Mhm.
mean, you know, I grew up, as I said, I went to a Catholic school. I'm pretty much Catholic. My grandfather Catholic, we're all Catholic. You know, so he always say that whenever you're going through a rough time, try to find a way to help somebody else,
That's a
because
great message.
that will help alleviate whatever you're going through. You know what I mean? So whenever you're going through a rough time, help. He always says that. Whenever you wake up and you think you're having a rough day, find somebody to help, and that will help your brain to think concurrent of whatever you want to do. So
Wow.
so from an early age, he taught me that. So I've always been around philanthropy, helping others. So my latest I have 3 sons. The middle one died in 2016. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry to hear that.
So yeah, no, it's great. As I say, we have to learn. I had the opportunity of learning the good out of a bad situation. And I think that situation helped me to reify myself of saying good things can come out of bad situations. You know what I mean? You can love again through a heartbreak. You know what I mean? Right?
Right.
So right. So when he died, it was aggressive time. It was aggressive. I used to I as I said, we're from a carpenter construction family. Me, I became a big six. A big six is a person who operates the big six equipments. So
Okay.
the grader, the backhoe, the forklift, you know what I mean? All the big six that in construction,
Yes.
I operate all those. I'm an operator.
Wow.
And when he died, I lost everything. Lost my sanity, lost my career, lost my job because I thought it was okay. I went back to work thinking it was okay. Everything crashed. So when everything crashed, it gave me a time to think, and I was like, "How can I help myself be better?" and his mom and the whole family be better, was helping. So I took upon myself to go find out how can I help whoever, whatever. So here in Alberta, Canada, we have food banks, right? Where I live, there's a food bank. And I went to the food bank, because I checked every little avenue, Salvation Army, all these nonprofit organizations. I'm not trying to be against them, but they don't really help that much.
Right.
You
No,
know what I mean?
I 100% get what you're saying.
Yeah, they don't help that much. So the food bank helps, right? Directly helps the public. So we went to the food bank and we said, hey, we want to help. And the food bank was like, whoa, you came at the right time. Because this was like on the end of COVID. Because I was like, kids are going to school, my sons are going to school. I want to make sure that they're safe in schools. So we went to the food bank and we sat down, we spoke to them, and they had this thing called the Snack Attack Initiative. No, the Snack Attack Initiative is when the food bank provides hot lunches for kids in schools. You know what I mean? So, and these are like elementary schools. So when we went in and we did our research and check it out, there were so many kids who were coming to school without lunches. And we didn't know. And this was just based off pride of the parents. The parents, you know what I mean? And this has nothing to do with race or color or creed. These were like kids. You know what I mean? A lot of them, right? So
kids.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So we came up with the idea we came up with the idea and concept that I'm going to start selling to raise money. I have to start selling my son's name that died on T-shirts. So we call the D. Damon Davis Foundation.
Okay.
So we started selling shirts on same Instagram for $30, and all that, and we raised a good amount of money, and we started donating to the food banks to provide hot lunches for kids in schools.
And that's great.
So we've been doing this for the past 3 to 4 years now. I think a year ago we helped a missionary in a town called Wetaskiwin. They do a great thing. They cook for the homeless, for kids in schools and anybody who just need like a blanket, whatever. They were the last we donated to. This year we're going back to the food bank again to make sure that we can cover more schools and learn more about how
that is awesome.
we can help the kids for the future. So that's pretty much what I do per se. That's my thing. You know what I mean? It keeps me close to my son that's gone. It keeps me close to my sons that's here. And yeah, that's has always been my. Again, weed showed me what I'm supposed to do. Me being a politician, yeah, I wouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean?
I'd vote for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want you to vote for me because I would have to take money from the food bank.
No,
instead
don't do that.
Instead of giving to them, I would have to do the opposite, right?
And that's the thing isn't it awful that you have to weigh options sometimes?
Yes.
Why you couldn't just be yourself and get that message out there the way you are.
Yeah, who you are and where you are, but no, life doesn't permit that. I'm sorry.
Right.
Same thing you said about the unicorn mask. Same thing you said about the bunny mask. Same thing you said.
Yeah.
It's a construct. You're not supposed to do what you want to do. You will not be accepted.
If you'd asked me 20 years ago, did I think I would be sitting across from someone like you, hearing a story like this, wearing fucking rabbit ears? I would have laughed in your face. I'd more likely been drunk off my butt.
Bro, I'll get my shotgun and start shooting everybody.
It's just crazy, isn't it? I had no idea.
Yeah,
that's the way. I will attest to that 100%. Alcohol brings out more anger in people than anything. I've never seen
alcohol separates people, bro. Because alcohol, we're not going to shed too much light on alcohol. But as I said, alcohol is a divisive, right? The person who drinks beer is looked down upon. And you know what's crazy about that? Looked down upon? It's in every race. So for example, the guy on Wall Street looks like you. He drinks scotch, right? Double single malt. You know what I mean? He thinks beer is. I'm not saying that what he thinks is right or I'm putting words in their mouth, but he's not going to look at beer. He's going to think beer is from Texas.
Yeah.
He's gonna align beer to cowboy boots.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Well,
he's being racist in his. So he's being racial in his own race, because he wears Georgia Bertinis and friggin' whatever boot to work, shoes to work with a suit, and he thinks that a single Scotch malt makes him feel like that's where he's supposed to be. While the guy who has on the cowboy boots, who drinks beer, he kind of, I don't know, right?
I don't even put fruit in my Corona when I drink it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm just
that's the line, right? That's what I'm saying.
And I think that's why I love weed so much, because I used to drink Corona and it had a skunky smell to it, even a skunky taste.
Yeah,
I picked right up on that, man. I love it.
Yeah, see, so weed doesn't do that, right? Weed doesn't do that. So the guy who works in Wall Street, he's gonna hide and smoke his weed in his penthouse, whatever, right? And the guy from Texas, he's gonna smoke weed on his farm.
Yeah.
So the guy, you know what I mean. So the guy who smokes weed in his penthouse and nobody knows will not frown upon the guy who smokes weed in Texas on his farm. But the guy who drinks a single malt in his apartment on the top floor is going to frown upon the guy who drinks beer in his cowboy boots. He's going to naturally,
you're 100%
naturally segregate. You're going to segregate each other naturally.
And we do it too, because I've done it before. I've walked into a bar and ordered a beer and see somebody look and get top shelf. I'm like, wow. Special occasion, or it's just somebody that, they don't belong here.
You automatically start to judge him. Automatically.
Which
is crazy. Which is crazy. And this is not your own thought process. This was written in your codes for you to do.
It is. You're right.
You know, this is not your natural thought process. It was written in your codes to do this. That's the only thing we don't have. There's no codes written for me to say, hey, the guy who lives on the street corner, weed is not as good as my weed. He might even have better weed than me.
Yeah, let's compare though.
It's
more envious than kind of like anger and looking down. It's like, dude, where'd you get that?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you.
It's like, what the fuck you get that? That's too dank for me. I need to keep that over there. Yeah, I've never heard anybody like that. Now I have like declined dab from flower to edible to things like that, but that's just the intake portion of me on how I like to.
Yeah, I don't do dabs. I'm sorry to the weed community, sorry to the dab community. Everybody around me does dabs, but I don't do dabs. It's
I only on occasion.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, I got some now because I was asked to when I was at the dispensary, but other than that, I usually don't.
Yeah, Nancy Reagan fought the dab out of my psyche. You know what I mean? It's too close to Nancy Reagan's description. It's too close. Yeah, you know.
Have you ever thought about writing a book? I'm serious. Man, the knowledge you've laid on us today, and thank you so much for just sharing this whole experience.
You know what I mean? So we, as I said, we can talk whenever we want. I mean, about any topic, and I can pin weed to time and location. You'd be crazy, you know what I mean? Time and location. Yep.
We are always welcome on here at any time. Anytime you want to try to push something or anything. I don't have like the best of the best of the best of the best, but I'm here.
Well, whenever you can fit us in, whenever I'm not busy, whenever I got the time, I can definitely be a part of the whole construct. And another time we're gonna talk about, you know, the origin of ganja, right? Because it came from ganja land, right? So one of these days we definitely gonna talk about that. It's part of the Jalen people, you know, because ganja came from giants. A lot of people we will talk about that another time. You know what I mean?
No. If you want, we can have a show once a week. You and I can get together. We can throw an hour show together for a while.
Definitely do that. Yeah, we can definitely talk about ganja another time. You know, like the origin, the structure, how many wars have been fought while that's being used, being moved, all that kind of jazz. You know what I mean? Yeah. Remember, line and shoelaces. Remember those two things. Weed is attached to them.
If you don't mind, I want to share something of myself real quick, because this is what I've decided to do. I'm reaching out to all the companies that are out there. I'm going to be going to the 420 event in New Buffalo. So I decided to sell sponsorships for my shirts. We're gonna have, or sorry, my zip hoodie. We're gonna have one zip hoodie, and up and down the arms will be all the sponsors that I've came across. I would love for you to be a part of it too. No pressure, of course. Thank you so much for sponsoring this show today. I've already got 2 sponsors ready to go. We're going to load it up and do it for 2 weeks, and then it's going to be for sale hopefully a week before I leave. That way, if it's ready to go, then I will have one. It will be worn up there. It will be in pictures. I'm going to be, of course, featured in Stoner Magazine because I'm going up there with the Dream Team with
We will be
Jen
sending
and
products.
SJ
We
and
will be
everybody.
sending products, man. As we wrap up, I'm gonna go to the shipping department and ask them to do what they got to do to ensure that you guys have everything to promote, everything to be a part of. So don't worry, we're gonna
Thank you
show
so
up.
much
Don't
for
worry.
that. And I will gladly, yes, while I'm up there, if you have
Yeah,
giveaways that you want me just to pass out to people or info cards, anything like that, with you being a part of Thank
we
Guns Are Now and
we're
Thank
definitely
Printed
gonna give you
Chronicles.
guys a show out and enjoy and be a part of the construct and the structure there. You know, so definitely.
Oh, man, I want to try to extend my hand to you, but I don't know how much further my hand can go. You've trumped
No,
me
we
into
no,
the
we're
ground with
good,
this,
man.
dude. I
As I
love
say,
this.
it was Twitter did
I'm
what it's
blown
supposed
away
to
by your
do.
message.
Yeah, Twitter did
I
what
am. Sorry,
Twitter
I'll
did what
quit
it's
talking.
supposed to do. This was a good link up, you know what I mean?
It
And
really was.
we have been patient with what we're doing. We're not in a rush to take over the world, you know. We're not the pinky in the brain. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Man, that reference has been thrown on my show, I swear, for the last 7 episodes. It's like
Yeah,
that's where we're at, though.
we're
That
not
era
trying
of
to take the
people,
world
it's like,
today.
but isn't
Yeah.
that kind of like your drive, though? It's what are we going to do today? I mean, it's one of those things you just want to do, and I love the way, man. I
Yeah.
might have to have Kim. We might have to put a Bogmaster Rob shirt together and put Animaniacs on it. We're gonna
Yes,
have
you
to
might
sell some
so
of them
yeah, you
guys.
might have to, you know what I mean? You might have to
May
put it
have
together,
to.
man. So yeah, we're into slow burn, no breakage, great taste.
I can't
So
wait
so
to try it,
so we're forever. We're pushing for forever, you know, not to take over the world, but we're pushing for it forever. So
and I
you
can
know,
see you being there.
yeah, yeah.
I can see you being
I
till
see
the
us
end.
being there. It's going to take time. Everything's a process. And everything's has a timeline. So we'll take our time to get across. We're not really pushing for distributors per se. In certain countries, we definitely work with distributors, but we have found out that distribution it has been hijacked by major companies. So a distributor will definitely take your product, but your product might not see a shelf life. You know what I mean?
That's not
Because
fair.
no, it's not. Nothing in life is fair because it's who gets in first determine the rules, right?
Absolutely.
Right, it's who gets in first. That's why we talk about the 60s when these guys were smoking weed. They'll be like, yeah, this can't be legal. You know what I mean? So who gets it first?
Yeah, may as well just give it to him. My goodness.
Yeah. Who
That's what
gets it
they're going
first
to do.
determine the rules, right? So we're working with the rules and regulations of the first people per se. And we're taking our time and getting there. So we're gonna be country by country, state by state, store by store, corners by corners, all that kind of jazz. We're definitely going to be there.
And as you guys can see, going across the top right now is FrostRollingPapers.com. And here's what you can find on their website. Right here's the papers. They've got the 3 different kinds. Get it to ship directly to you. Go there. Check it out, please. Check out some of the other that I Love Weed hoodie, man. I'm going to get one of them, even if I have to walk to your distributor to get it. That is the most coolest hoodie.
No worries, man. Matter of fact, we're gonna sell you. Well, this new one is our new design. So every year we put out a new T-shirt design. And we market it for 12 months. But I'm gonna get you our old designs. What has first I smoke weed, then I do things. That's our
man. I would love to have that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I smoke weed. Yeah.
That is so badass.
Yeah, please weed me. You can wear that on a date. You know what I mean? So we're gonna send you. We're gonna send you our old school, our past designs as well. So it's not just the new design we have. So
You're
we're gonna
not
push it.
high, it's just moving.
Yeah, we're gonna move. We're gonna sell. We're gonna
It's an
send you some.
illusion. Go to Fats Rolling Papers. I love weed. I love weed. I'm sorry. No, please continue.
No,
I
please,
just throw a little bit into that.
Please, we're not the serious kind. We're actually we don't take nothing serious because as I say, You can't be too
But too much
serious.
in life is serious. You can't take everything serious.
You can't be
Way
too
I've come to
serious,
the
man.
conclusion
The
now.
the only thing I take serious is my government name when I'm paying bills. That's it. Okay. Yeah, those guys, right? Yeah,
Don't
yeah. You
yeah.
gotta be serious with those guys. That's it. Yeah,
Don't mind me. I'm
yeah.
just over here losing. Pretty much. It's the way it goes anymore, isn't it? Oh, what else can you suck from me today?
Yeah, what else
Oh,
can you
really?
take? Yeah, what else do you need today? You know what I mean?
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
I always heard the phrase you can't get blood from a turnip, but I'll tell you what, there's companies out there that try like hell because I'm being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, and ain't nothing hadn't come out of me yet.
me,
But we got we're running
me,
over 5 minutes.
my structure is my structure. I know with bills, I'm like a balls on a -40 day. Okay, there's no ear left. It's dried. I'm just
For those of you who don't have, it's whoop,
yeah,
gone,
yeah. Gone,
gone,
gone.
gone.
Yeah, yeah. Ain't got
It's
no
like a
balls.
fighting turtle.
Yeah, correct. Shit, man.
Did you post a video of snow yesterday or a picture of snow, or was it something that
Yeah,
you shared?
yes, yeah.
It,
We're
wow.
yeah. It's winter. Huh?
Well, I'm in
the-
Ohio and it's 80 today. Normally it's like that. Like in 2 days, it's going to
yeah,
hit again. A
yeah,
week from yesterday, it was going to show a drop in like 45 degrees. We're going
yeah,
from 78 yesterday to 32. That's the
yeah.
high for the next Tuesday.
Oh, you
This
guys are
state
lucky.
is
You guys are
it's
lucky.
awful.
Me, Santa Claus is my neighbor, bro. So you know what I mean. And
Wow, you are way up
Jack
there.
Frost lived down the road. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow.
So winter is winter. You know. Yeah. There's no where I
It
live
used
is
to be like that.
a Hallmark. It's a Hallmark card, pretty much where I live. You
It does
know.
sound beautiful though,
Oh,
for
it is
sure.
beautiful. We have some of the beautiful mountains ever in the world. I mean, Banff is only like 3 hours away from me, so
Wow.
it's beautiful. As I say, the only thing weed helps me with the outlook of things. You know, I see palm trees, beach, bikinis. You
Yeah.
know, a little bit of pina colada. You know, you know what I mean?
He's from
So,
Canada, Tommy.
yeah.
Well, he's not from
So
Canada, it's where he currently lives at.
yeah, we're currently lives. No, Canada
But
is
that's the
home.
way it sounds. It's damn near the North Pole.
Yeah, I'm close. So
Wow.
Canada is home. This is where my kids are Canadian, so Canada is home. You know what I mean?
That is
Um,
great,
so,
man. That really
so,
is.
but eventually, the world will be the home of fast relocators. Eventually, you know?
And if I have anything to say about it, and the people that I know, they're definitely going to know who you are. I'm going to make
Yeah.
sure that everything is still shared out. I'm going to do some clips from the show, and I'll send you a couple of the excerpts from it.
Please, yeah.
I'm
So
going to definitely
we can
share it out to all
promote
the people we got
and
going.
put up. You know. Also, yeah. Before we go, I'm working on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
I have this concept and idea for a YouTube channel where it's going to be about stories about cannabis in a good way from scientific way as well, and the don'ts of using marijuana. So it's going to be an educational a YouTube channel.
That's going to be great.
Everything will mostly be most things will be in animation because no offense to the AI slop, but the world is moving towards that kind of energy, you know.
Well, honestly,
So
that's not the only way you can get a video to go out anymore is allow
it's allowed
some
through
sort of
AI.
algorithm to
Yeah,
create it.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're grading everything through AI right now. So until something changes, we're
No,
just
I
gonna
agree
work
with
with
that.
what the current is. So yeah, we're working on that behind the scenes. So
Do
maybe
you know what
our
the
next
name of it's going to be? Is it going to be at Fast Rolling Papers, or are
yeah
you going to try to?
our YouTube page is Fast Roll Games.
Okay, I will definitely share that out in a little bit.
Yes,
I
but
wasn't sure if you had one, or I'm going to join you in for a collab on this, as long as we don't get kicked off because we're talking about weed. Hopefully, we don't.
yeah, hopefully we don't. But I don't. We still working on getting it structured.
Okay.
Yeah, because I say social media is not our go-to. We prefer the public. We prefer to meet the people, see the people, talk to the people type of vibe. That's one of the reasons why, as I said before, we don't really do a distribution.
Mhm.
We still go into stores to meet owners of these stores. We go into stores to meet the bud tenders, to talk to
Right.
them, because we need to know people who are selling products. So we know what they're, what they're about,
Yeah, you'd be
who
more
they are.
homey with them. It's like, come here, sit
Correct.
down, let's just talk for a minute. That's what I found with weed. You can really get to know people better that way.
Yeah.
Everything else that I've ever been a part of kind of has a little bit of extra chaos in there, but put me in a room with 30 people I don't know, give me a joint, I'll be their best friend in about 2 hours.
I'll be your best friend. We'll have a sit down, right? And a lot of
Yeah.
people don't understand that in gestures, weed is actually fine dining because weed yeah, in gestures. Weed is fine dining. Weed is not
Wow.
McDonald's. Weed is not what those pubs, the pubs that sells burgers at the same time. Weed is not
Oh,
that. Weed is actually
yeah.
fine dining because weed, you get to know the person you actually partake weed with. Fine dining essence of going to a restaurant, sit down, fine dining, you actually have to get to know the person who's having dinner, and
Yeah.
also you get to know the server. If the dinner is so good, you're gonna bring out the chef. You're gonna know his name. You're gonna get to even to know the
Wow,
chef
that's a good point.
at the
That's a
end
really
of the
good point.
meal. Yeah, weed from a gesture is fine dining. It's not a rush thing. It's not a speed thing. It's not. It's actually you took the time out. So we use that to get to know people who work in stores, who are owners, and get to know not just their background, but why they're doing this, what their goal about doing the business and all that. And in return, that helps our product to be sold to customers.
Wow.
Right. So same thing you said about the word of mouth. We live on that. We thrive on that. So we want to know the bartenders who work in the store. We want to know the owners, and eventually these people will introduce the product to their customers when they come in, and then we become a staple.
Don't ever come try to sell something to me because your business model is going like get me to take my clothes off before you're done talking, man.
Don't worry, man. We might have to drink some alcohol before
I'm
you sit
serious though.
down.
That's crazy
We,
because
we
yeah,
might
no
have to
matter
have a
what
drink
my
before I ask you to strip. You know what I mean? You don't have
oh
to get
man.
tempted.
Oh no, I don't need to drink. It's all right. I don't need to drink. It's fine. But really
Right.
though,
So yeah.
your
So
whole speech right there with just that would convince more people to give it an opportunity
yeah.
just by what you said because you're exactly right when it comes to that. I've
Yeah.
never thought about it that way.
Yeah. Weed is a fine dining gesture. It is. It's
Yeah,
not.
because you take recommendations from people, then you go there yourself, and then once you
Yeah.
find it, you want to figure out how in the hell they did it. So bring him out. Let me see that. You're
Correct.
100% with it's not a fast food. Let me go in and buy this and go, or come
No.
into a loud, chaotic spot. Just give me
Yeah.
what everybody else is getting so I can go. You're
Yeah.
wow, you're exactly right with that.
No. No. From a gesture, it's fine dining. It's yeah. It's on the highest level of things. You know what I mean? So
You're
yeah. So,
100%, man.
yeah.
That
To
is
get to,
awesome.
yeah
Hey,
to get to know somebody. Yeah. Bring out the weed, man. You want to fight? Bring out the alcohol. It's your choice. Your
Yeah,
decision.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, those of you guys who missed the beginning of the show, Hilly, I just seen you popped in because I know you have a lot of stuff going on. You guys have missed one hell of a show. This has been one of the most informational or informative, should I say, episodes of Dank Dungeon Chronicles that I've ever
Yeah.
had. I feel like I owe you more than what you think because of what you've done for me. Not only have you enlightened me on things I had no clue about, the whole storyline, the whole everything behind Fast Rolling Papers has just
Yeah.
completely blown me away. And I
Yeah.
am
Really
so
good,
glad
man.
that you're allowing me to be a part of it by being a part of my show and then being a part of me doing things out in this world because I was searching for people like you. I've found so many, and I hope that my journey keeps going on and on and on because I will never hear another story like you just told me.
Yeah.
I've never heard one before,
Yeah.
and
Everybody has
damn,
their
but it
unique
hits so
stuff,
close to home, everything that you
man.
described. But
Yeah.
I
It's,
listened
it's
to you through
relative,
this
right? It's
whole
so relative.
story.
So
Yes, I
relative,
mean,
right? Right. You
you
can.
gave me cold chills more often than not the whole time you were talking. The
Yeah.
only
Well,
reason why I interrupted you is because I didn't want the 286 people that we've got, like, just
yeah.
leave because I didn't think I was talking to them. I wanted you to keep moving the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
please, anytime you are free again, send me an email,
Yeah,
send me a message. I would
we will set it up. We can talk about, as I say, anything. You know what I mean. But as I said prior, there's a lot of things we don't want to know, but at the same time, we're educated on it, so we can definitely have a conversation about it. But it's not something we dwell on.
right.
We dwell on affordability and quality for all. At the end of the day, I think that's what everybody wants. You know what I mean? Everyone, you know what I mean? In
The most
across the
time you
board,
run?
not just a product. Um,
Absolutely.
um, each one teach one. I mean, that's one of the motto of weed. I mean, you know what I mean? Each one
Yeah,
teach one. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you know somebody got good product, I know you're gonna tell me. You're not gonna you know what I
absolutely.
mean? You're not gonna hold it out. So each one teach one. Also help. Whenever you think you're having a bad day, help somebody. You know what I mean? You know what's great of having a bad day, and I said when it come on to weed and construct and having a bad day, if you think that the weed will not help, if you have a dog, take your dog for a walk. You help your dog. That will
There you
enlighten.
go.
That will change the trajectory of your brain, of your thought process. and then you can go back in and smoke some more weed and enjoy the rest of your day. You know what I mean? So we're all about health, as a
You should have been a
construct,
philosopher.
as a way of life. We're about affordability and quality, and last but not least, we're going to be here forever.
100% on that.
So be a part of this. You know what I mean? Come be a part of it. Be a part of something forever.
I'm looking forward to.
And last one, and yeah, and this we sell good shit. Remember that. We sell good
Absolutely.
shit.
Because it wouldn't be worldwide if it wasn't good. People just don't buy bad shit, y'all. I mean, this shit.
No, people don't buy bad shit. People buy
Right.
good shit.
No, especially when it comes to weed. And that's I
Correct.
mean, we've all like tolerated the bad because we've had to over the years, but it's 2026. We don't buy bad shit.
We don't
There's
buy
no
bad
point in
shit.
looking
Yeah.
awful anything. And I am so glad that you've shared this story with me, man. I really am.
No
We've been on
worries,
for
man.
2 hours now, and I'm sure you're
Yeah.
ready to smoke too. So the next time you come on, I want to hear about whatever you want to talk about, even if it's what you did yesterday, and we're going to smoke.
Oh, we're
Because
definitely gonna smoke. Next time we
I
link
don't
up,
care if I get
we're smoking.
restricted at all, as long as your message is getting out while we're live. That's all that matters
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, we definitely have to smoke on camera, man, to show that the product is real, right?
Hell yeah. You're
All
going to
right,
see it
man.
all over the dank dungeon for sure. I'm telling you, you're going to have whatever you send me to put in this room is
Yeah.
going to be in this room. Anything you want me to, yes, I'm going to be your walking billboard, man.
All
I
right.
love this fucking story.
Much
Thank you again for
respect,
joining
Rob.
me.
Thank you. No, thank you, man.
We
And
carried almost
everybody who's
300
listening,
people with
everybody's
us.
watching, shout out.
Absolutely.
Have
So
a good
until
one,
we
man.
meet again, my friend, thank you again. And
All
I will
right.
reach out later on with all the info that you asked me for earlier. And thank you again for joining me. For that, thank
Not
you
a
guys
problem.
again to
Have a
Frost
good
Rolling
one.
Papers for sponsoring for the show. I will see you later, my friend. Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.